2 o'clock.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Had Trade.
We're ahead of ourselves. We're ahead of ourselves here.
That's your boy Joey Options behind the awesome thing there, and I'm Sharif, and we're gonna wait for everyone to come on over. All right, people are already weaseling their way in. I love that. What's going on, everybody? Let me just make sure I'm in the right window over here. Yes, I am. All right, we got the OG Darwin, we got Juan Padilla. I gotta stay in the other chat there, Joe, because it looks like a lot of people are sending their message in the old chat. Well, we'll do both next time. Chucky, Jonathan Mallory, we got Sebastian, we got Benton C, we got Echo Max, shout out to Scott H and Ezzy Media. I like that. Ezzy Media, we got Unrag, the OG, we got Maxi Jr. and Donnie, Zimbabwe, we got Kristen, Norman, and None of Something. Love that. Trader B joining us as well. Shout out to the world's greatest mod, Bears versus Bulls. Mary S. Lyman, we got Eric Bishops and Joan McLean. Stubborn D and Marcos also in the house. Vin Duong and Paul Goodson. TVD, Scott Edwards. Neville Campo and Kathy Chats. She's chatting, Joe. She's busy. On the blockchain, we got D. Westermeyer. Thank you, D, for putting the umpteen amount of sugar in the back there. And I keep walking by it, but the willpower is strong today. The willpower is strong. We're gonna steer clear of that.
Yeah, me too. Me too, but we're not. No. We're not eating that.
We're gonna have to take care of that. No. Shout out to Blue Sky and everybody. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, my man.
How's everything, brother? How was your evening?
I can't complain. It was decent. I stayed back, did the market recap show. It was interesting there. We had some interesting market movers after SMCI. Finally submitting, yep. And they're up big on the day. We'll probably be looking at that. How's everything else?
Yeah, everything's good, brother. Well, you know what I did first thing this morning as soon as I turned on my phone.
The dude was hyped. I got a message bright and early, 7:15 a.m.
Bright and early. Hey, IBIT optionable, folks. We've been waiting for this for a long time. It got approved by the SEC not too long ago. Now it was just waiting for the FC to approve it as well too. So that obviously got approved today, guys. And I was looking at it as well. I was just looking at the chain. We're going to talk a little bit more about where we see some open interest on that as well. But I know Sharif has a lesson. But Sharif, for the lesson, you know what we're going to go through?
What are we doing?
The top sector performance, all right? So we're going to see what's going on, the top performing sectors today. And you know what? There's a lot of red on the board. And nothing is up crazy. So we're going to start with the win play show. And in first place, we have real estate up a whopping 0.14% on the session. Technology sitting in second place there with a 0.12%. And then consumer staples ran by Walmart, it seems up a whopping 0.08%. So that's your show there. Real estate now. Okay, we get in a little bit of a sector change here.
Really?
So yeah, as I was speaking, so real estate in third place, consumer staples in second now, and then technology sitting up in first. And then guys, in last place we have materials down about 0.75% there. Energy about 0.7% down on the session, and then financials down about 0.6% in third last, my guy.
All right, man. Good to know. I love that. I like going through the sectors in the beginning. Kind of gives you an opportunity to focus on the right stuff. So let's get to the lesson. Then we'll obviously be doing some trading after that. So we're going to continue with the theme that we already started, moving averages. What we're talking about today, guys. We're going to get more nuanced with it, though, Ram. We're going to talk about moving averages as areas of support and resistance. So let's get right to it and explain things in a more basic way as we always do. What is support and resistance for newer traders? I'm sure 99% of us know what this is, but we always have newer viewers. Support and resistance levels are price points, okay, where securities price tends to pause or reverse, okay? Support levels are areas where buyers are more likely to buy and enter the market, while resistance levels are levels where areas are more likely to encounter, levels where are levels and areas where sellers are more likely to enter the market. So you see a lot of shorting or a lot of selling in that area. So support, people are buying or people are covering their short positions. Resistance areas, people are selling or people are instituting shorts, basically betting against the stock. So how do we use these moving averages? First of all, 2 quid from the main man, Adam Dang Deluce. He doesn't lose, by the way. Too quick. Thank you, Adam. Much love to Sharif and Joe. Fantastic community. We love you, Adam, and we miss you around these parts. And definitely want to see you soon, my man. Hopefully I'll weasel over to London if Arsenal can get it together. But moving back to the lesson, Ram, how do we use these moving averages as areas of support and resistance? Well, this is what I'm going to talk about. Moving averages can certainly be effective tools for identifying areas of support and resistance. When the price touches or breaks through a moving average, it can signal a potential reversal or a continuation of the trend. So let's talk about some of these more common moving average combinations that we can use for areas of support and resistance. So let's talk about the 50 and the 200, SMA. We already prefaced this yesterday. We talked about it from a different combination in terms of crossovers. Today, we're going to talk about using them as support and resistance. So step one, how do we use them? So when the price touches or pulls back to the 50-day SMA, simple moving average, it can act as a potential support level. Conversely, when the price touches or pulls back to the 200-day SMA, it can act as potential resistance level. So what are you looking for here? If the price consistently bounces off the 50 EMA, it's suggesting to you strong support, okay? So if the price consistently, though, fails to break above the 200-day SMA, it's suggesting strong resistance. So that's kind of what you're looking for there. Repeated bounces off the 50 in terms of support and repeated rejections off the 200 in terms of resistance. So what's your waiting time? Like what kind of window are we talking about here? So the waiting time can vary really depending on market conditions. However, a common strategy is to wait for the retest of that support or resistance level after a breakout or a breakdown. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. In fact, let me just weasel over here into Caterpillar because I have a case in point, Joseph, because I was involved in this. So you guys know I'm in CAT. I've been in CAT for a hot minute. But I had lamented selling the majority of the position back in April when we weaseled up into that 380. So I said I would be very interested in getting back at 300. Lo and dang behold, we got that 300. Well, why is that 300 important? Because it was an area of rejection earlier. We danced with it in July of last year. We danced with it in January of this year, unable to break through it. I know I'm talking about moving averages, but the principle is still the same. I like that 300 level, and I wait for the retest to come back into 300 before buying it up in the same way that you would look for the price to come back into the 50 exponential moving average before you bought it up. The same case can be made for Apple. Let's look AAPL, okay? We know that 200 level was a level of importance. You don't have to be a chartered market technician to see that Apple was rejecting off that 200 for a hot minute. How many times did we get? We had a bunch of times in July of 23, again in November of 23, and then we tried to dance with it again in March. Finally, we broke and took it in June. Why? Because we got all that AI news. But then Black Monday came. Who remembers that Monday in August? And quadunk went the dang dynamite because we dropped big boy into 196. Let me tell you, I was picking up Apple at 200. So that is the look there. So when areas are repetitive areas of resistance or support, wait for them to come get tested again, and you could have a fantastic entry point there. The same holds true for using moving averages as that area of support and resistance. So that's the waiting time heading. Now, with respect to using the 50 and the 200 with other indicators, you could consider using volume indicators like on balance volume, OBV for short, to confirm the strength of the support and resistance. If OBV is increasing as the price approaches support, it suggests strong buying pressure. What is that telling you? That's telling you even though we're dropping towards that level, volume is increasing, especially the buying volume is increasing incrementally. So people are looking at that level. So keep your eye out on obviously volume and as well on balance volume. Let's talk about a different combination though. We prefaced this one yesterday too, so let's go through it some more. That 20 and that 50-day EMA, not SMA, EMA this time. So how do we use it? So similar to the 50-day and the 200-day SMA, the 20 and the 50 EMA can be used to identify areas of support and resistance. What to look for? The same principles apply with the 50 and the 200-day SMA. So you're looking for consistent bounces off that 20-day EMA for support and consistent failures to break above that 50 EMA for resistance. So you're locked in to that kind of range, and you're locked in between those ranges, and what you're looking for is a break and take or a failure of one. Okay, the waiting time can be a bit shorter. Obviously, we're using shorter dated moving averages here. So you're looking for trend changes that can happen a bit more rapidly in this instance, okay? And other indicators to kind of work in with this combination, you can consider things like the RSI or the stochastic oscillator to confirm the strength of support and resistance. What you're looking for here specifically with RSI and stochastics is a divergence between the price and these indicators. It can suggest to you potential reversal. How many times have you heard me talk about RSI price action divergence, MACD price action divergence? Give you a quick example: higher lows on the RSI, lower lows on the price, or the other way around. You're getting higher highs on the price, but lower highs on the RSI. That's showing you divergence. You've got bullish divergence and bearish divergence, depending on what the price and the oscillator are doing, okay? Moving on, so strategies for using these moving averages as support and resistance. Let's talk about the first and the most obvious of them, buying near support. Shocking. When the price touches or pulls back to a moving average, which is the support level, you can consider buying as a potential entry point. And you also want to, obviously, this is kind of basic, you want to obviously sell near resistance. When the price touches or pulls back to a moving average, the resistance level that we're talking about, consider selling as a potential exit point. But there's also cases where you could get breakouts and breakdowns. What do you do in those cases? If the price breaks above resistance or below a support level, it can signal a strong trend change. And then what you can do is you can either get in on the breakout, which is a bit higher risk, or again, you can wait for that level to get tested as a key area of support or resistance. So if we broke above that 200 level on Apple, you can pack your patience, wait for that retest of 200. And again, that kind of just took my last point there, the retest after the breakout or the breakdown. If the price may retest the former support or resistance level, this can provide an opportunity to exit or enter a trade. And last but not least, tips for using these moving averages as areas of support and resistance. Consider the market conditions. I cannot stress this enough. Moving averages are all but, bad word, useless in consolidative or very sideways markets. You will get chopped up to no end. You will have false signals to no end. So it is incumbent upon you to identify the direction of the trend before using moving averages. Are we trending up or are we trending down? If we're doing one of those two things, great, use moving averages. But if we're locked in a consolidation, stay away from them. Second point, combine with other indicators. We already kind of prefaced this. Using moving averages, though, in conjunction with other technical indicators like we talked about, RSI, stochastics, OBV, can give you more robust signals. And last but not least, adjust moving average periods. I've submitted to you the 50 and the 200, as well as the 20 and the 50, but that's by no means an exhaustive pairing of these moving averages. Experiment with different moving average periods to find the best combination for your trading style and your time frame. If you're swinging 3 days or you're swinging 3 weeks, or if you're intradaying, you got to figure out what works best for you. And you know what I'm going to say, Joseph?
Dude,
I hope everyone. Multiple storms.
Multiple storms, guys. Yeah, fantastic lesson as always by Sharif. First things first, I'm going to give a shout out to On the Blockchains. Yes, sir. I think you would appreciate this, Joe. I'm up a whopping 250% on my options on SMCI. Let's go. So congratulations on that one. Hopefully you locked in some profits there, even though we are still continuing to the top side here, Sharif, up a whopping 35% on the session. So hopefully people are taking advantage of that one. But guys, you also know what I was talking about last week or even earlier in the week with Sharif is like, where can we get in on Walmart? Walmart reports, gets the double beat, and then sure enough, it gaps up. So I don't know. You just got to buy any dip on this thing at any point you can, because now price is starting to run away from you. Absolutely fantastic company. That's something that you want to hold in the long-term portfolio for sure, in my opinion anyways, guys. But hey, the main topic for me today, and you know what, I forgot about Walmart earnings and I forgot about low earnings this morning, because when I was flipping through the news, the first thing that came up was IBIT being optionable. So right then and there, my head is focusing on that. So I wanted to pull up the chain and see what was going on with that. So the December 20th expiry, 31 days, there's some open interest sitting up around $65. So that's something that I like to see. Possibly some hedge positions being open now, just in case this thing drastically starts to appreciate. But I like to see that open interest up in around that $65 mark, guys. So yeah, that's fantastic. I really like that. I don't have any positions on at the moment. I think everything's slightly extended for me up here. I'm gonna wait for a pullback on IBIT here, see if we can hold VWAP, because I think we're just hovering around, chopping around a little bit. Unless a drastic amount of volume influx comes in and we get that volume influx on IBIT, then I'm gonna wait and see, because I do think that we pull back to maybe this 52.40 level, and then maybe we can take that second leg higher. I was looking at the Camarilla pivot points this morning for those who are familiar with them, and we were sitting under R4. And those who are familiar know that under R4 is a potential breakdown level, a pivot. So I noticed that, so we're gonna need some volume to be able to sit on top of this pivot, and then we can possibly trade a little higher, sitting around 53.5 up to 54 even. But again, we're gonna need that volume and that momentum to step in, so we can sit on top of those pivot levels and then continue to move a little bit higher. But as of right now, I'm gonna wait for that pullback into VWAP, see what price action tells me around those levels, and then potentially get in for a long. But as of right now, I'm gonna pull up the cues on my chart. I don't like this because it was kind of identical to yesterday's price action pattern at some point throughout the day, is that we're slightly extended, even though we're only up about 0.2% here, not even. I wanna see a little bit of a pullback, and then maybe we can continue. But one thing that when I came in, I was like, oh, I missed this, right? Because I didn't get into the office until later, and I'm like, I would have really liked to trade that in the pre-market, but unfortunately we didn't get to take advantage of that one. But there will always be more. But as of right now, I'm going to be sitting on my hands, waiting for some of these stocks to start pulling into the volume-weighted average price. And one of those stocks is Walmart that I'm keeping my eye up, having about 14.5 million shares traded on the session, up just under 4% as well. So we'll see. It is a NASDAQ stock. It is a little bit of a slow burner, not the best intraday trader, but we're going to sit on our hands right now, Sharif, wait for something to come to us, and then take advantage of that, my guy.
Love it, man. All right, let's bring in the trustee side chart and talk about the small cap gappers that we're looking at today. There's a lot of good ones, and they're not giving up the ghost quite yet. So hopefully we'll do a little bit better on these bad boys today than we did yesterday. First, I'm looking at LUNR, looking good so far right here. Let me put this bad boy on the side chart, or the ticker, so that it can update. It's up 12.5%. I'm really waiting. First of all, I'm looking to see if 13 wants to defend as a whole dollar level. So far, it is. But ideally, my favorite level on this happens to be between that 1290 and 1285, 1280. How come? Random level, right? Well, look at all these bottoming tail candles, as well as these two candles over here. The bottom end of the range was 1290. So I realize that that's 10 pennies really close to 13 bucks. So 13 could act as support because it's the whole dollar level, yada, yada, yada. But I'm waiting at around that level. I also 1285, 1280, that's VWAP. So that's why I'm looking there. We'll have to see if this one gives up the ghost at the whole dollar level. If it does, I'll be waiting for in and around VWAP to that 1290 area. So LUNR certainly in focus right now. Good luck. The other one, BBAI. This one was running when the whole AI craze back in early to mid 03. I remember this bad boy. There's a lot moving right now. There's a lot of AIs. We'll get to the AIs. This is bull flagging. This is bull flagging with about $1.98 where VWAP is. It's a little above $2. This guy's punching the screen. I like it. I like your excitement.
Pulls up, man. IBIT's up there, man. Hey.
Good vibes, bro. I'm not going to say how much you're up, but you're up.
Hey, man, we're having a good time.
Yes, sir.
We're having a good time.
Sir. So BBAI, bull flagging over here, $1.98, the range 208, the high. If I had to guess, this probably breaks down. There's no news on this one. But there is on AI, and this one is awfully strong. This monster started moving at 8:30, so we already took that definable pre-market high. If you know how I trade these, let's call them small cap gapper adjacent stocks, because this is not a small cap gapper. 28.75 was the high. We took that out quite aggressively right at the opening bell. We took out that high, and we haven't really looked back. Now, we're breaking trend. We knocked on the door 32. Now we're weaseling down into 31. And we've got multiple lower lows, lower highs. So it looks as if, number one, This 30.75 is the first area of interest. How come? Because this area crest over here is an obvious area of resistance. And so if it flips to support, I want to be alert to that. Then, obviously, if that 30.75, 30.80 doesn't hold, I'm looking at that 30.25 for the volume weighted average price. So AI, definitely in focus, 17.25%. Fantastic look. There's more. Lemonade. I don't know. I think Brendo brought us this one earlier. Look how strong this is, bro. One quick dip into VWAP at 10.15, and it hasn't broken the 10 exponential since that time. So LMND up 15% or thereabouts, knocking on the door $40. I'm going to have to take this obviously on a retracement, not punching in at highs. It's too expensive for that. So LMND in focus. How about this one? APLD, a holdover from yesterday. This bad boy was moving. It moved well. Gave up a little bit there towards the end of the day, but we're back in positive territory again today, 15.3, trading at the highs, 8.99 HOD. We're putting 8.95 right now. So pretty much at the highs. This one looking like it's zigging and zagging between the 10 and the 20. So the money fill might be somewhere in between. I haven't really given it enough of a look yet. And last but not least, we'll send it back to Joseph in a hot second. I don't know why all these stocks are all up 15 and change %. But this one, BTCS, bull flagging. And this one, yeah, right at the bell. So it doesn't have much of a definable pre-market high, but it got shellacked yesterday. And yeah, well, not really shellacked. It was down yesterday. So we're still an inside day, knocking the door $4, 388. The high of the day, Joseph. This SPI, not to my liking, nor is this PRFX. So we're gonna let those, we're gonna ignore those for now, and if they reset a little bit better, then we'll look at them. But I wanted to mention one thing, guys. We're doing a little bit of a different twist today. Voting for your favorite tickers on the afternoon rundown's got to be done right there in the chat. There is a poll. Vote for your favorite tickers. You got IBIT. I think my man Joey Options wants IBIT. I'm voting for IBIT, Joey. We're going to do it live right here.
I was going to say, you know what I voted for already.
There we go.
So.
We're clicking IBIT right now. So you got IBIT. You got XPEV. You got Donald John Trump and the acquisition company backed. Or you got the monster, what's it called, retail name Walmart doing an absolutely fantastic look. We already have 188 votes. We want to get that up, baby. Get your vote in. And then here's the thing. Here's a twist, though. We're going to have two polls. One for the first half of the show. We'll take the top 3. And then we're going to have a second poll. In the second half of the show, we'll take the top 2. That makes 5. And those will be your bad boys right there. So we'll do it a little bit differently today. Hopefully narrow the focus down. Because people voting for random stuff.
Yeah, random stuff. Yeah. It's just not even close, right? So
that's a look there, my man. What are you looking at?
2NY Cent asked me to look at some PLTR for him. He's looking to do some call options. Just keep in mind, I had to double check to make sure when they're getting transferred over to the NAS, and it's, I think the 26th of November they're going to be transferred over. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to say no to that, but just be wary of how extended we are. I do think you'll be able to get somewhat of a better price. So maybe just be a little bit of just be patient. Wait for it to transfer listings, and then see what price action is telling you from that point. So. I'm not going to say no to the options because this stock has absolutely been one of the best performing in the past couple of months. There's no doubt about that. So keep that in mind, but just remember it's going from the NYSE to the NASDAQ on the 26th. So I think the volume is going to increase on this. I'm not going to, hey, listen, 2NY, I think that this thing will be a triple-digit stock probably sometime next year. There's no doubt in my mind, so I'm not going to say no, but I think you should just maybe hold off a little bit, pack your patience, because it is slightly extended. This thing has been absolutely roaring to like crazy. I remember I was thinking about buying this thing around like $17, just because it was meme crazy, and I like Alex Karp. I was listening to this guy, and the first time I ever seen Alex Karp, he had this YouTube ad, and he said the quote. He said, people want what we have, and we're going to charge them a lot of money for it. And I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this guy?
You gotta love his character.
Yeah, and sure enough, here he is. The stock up over 100% in the past month or so. So good luck. I just think you can get a better price on that one there for PLTR 2NY, my guy. We're going to send it up to Sharif.
Donald John Trump. During his first presidency, emphasized that a strong America must not depend on foreign adversaries for critical minerals essential to our nation's economic and military strength in the 21st century. Aligning with this vision, Military Metals is emerging as a global powerhouse in the antimony space, crucial for defense and military applications. With past producing assets in the US, Canada, and Europe, Military Metals is poised to secure these vital resources domestically. Don't wait too long. The story is heating up fast. I mean, perfect day to kind of say that this is quite accurate today. We don't often talk about the political sphere that doesn't have to do with business, but today it kind of did because it had an effect in the future. So obviously stuff out of Russia about the use of nuclear weapons and the such. So you guys already know about that. So we're keeping an eye on that, and any breaking news that we should get that would be market moving, obviously will pass your way in a hot second. So here we go, guys. LUNR, this one did defend generally 13, but I'm not liking the look of this one's jib right now. And I'll tell you why. There's a topping tail candle forming on the 5 that I don't want anything to do with. This is not the move right here, working where you're up to 1340 topping tail. And if this candle makes a new low, then this would be really interesting here. And what do I mean by that? So this topping tail candle showed you that there was aggressive selling in an area we expected selling. Like over here, we rejected at around 13 1/3, kind of the same area over here. So the last time, though, we came back into the 10 exponential and held up. We're below the 10 exponential now. So it'll have to be a 13 defend, and I will be very critical about how I traded in and around that area because of this topping tail candle. Now, I don't want to put too much stock into one candle, especially on an intraday trade, but you know, it's something to definitely include in your analysis. So I'm waiting for 13 to see whether this breaks and takes. I'm still interested in the dip trade at around 1280 to 1290. It just dipped into 13, getting bought up. So you can tell there's a bit of a tug of war between buyers and sellers in and around this level. Kind of unsurprised by that given how it traded earlier. So LUNR still very much interesting to me, but how I weasel in an entirely different story. AI pulling back in. I think I'm just going to pack my patience for VWAP. This was a bit of a bigger name, obviously. I like that 30 1/3. In fact, I like it so much, we're going to throw up an alert at around the mid-40s there to be made aware if it does come a little bit closer to VWAP. And then Lemonade, man. Lemonade is just awfully respectful of the 10 exponential, so I'm going to set up a dip trade on this one at around 39.40 to 39 1/3 with the idea here of getting it off the 10 exponential. So that is my move there. Let's load up LMND. Do we have LMND loaded up? APL, DAPL. No, we don't want that twice. LMND. Is that on the NASDAQ? No, it is not. It is on the New York. I forgot about that one. Okay, so we're going to set up on this one right at the area where I said around 39. I'm going to put over here 39 mid-40s, just kind of account for that look. So we'll put that first resting order there on Lemonade. We'll see what we get there. I should tell you guys BTCS, which is now up about 18%, is at the day high, 388, setting up a bull flag on this one. We talked about this right at the top of the show. This is very respectful here of the higher high, higher low situation with possibly a flat top breakout coming here. There we go, new high a day. It just worked its way up into 92. So this one's going here, guys. BTCS up almost 20%.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Someone in the chat asked me to take a look at Pfizer for them. I mean, I think you guys are going to know where I'm going with this one. Unless you're trying to collect a dividend based off of this stock, this is going to get the Matumbo. No. I mean, no, but seriously, I don't know if you like healthcare. They said they liked it, then by all means, go for it. But again, if you want to own a stock like this, you're just trying to fight it, trying to milk a stone on this one. But if you want to go big size and collect the dividend on it, then by all means, this may be the stock for you. But other than that, I'm not going to talk too much about Pfizer because it did report last week. It's holding off of those report lows. So again, just wait and see. Maybe it can recover. You got a big volume, isolated volume signature right here. So keep that in mind. I mean, but where's the next level on this thing? Are we making all-time lows? I'd have to go back here. Let me go to a longer time frame and see what we're going at. No, so I mean, there's still some potential downside on this thing. But again, that's not something that I would be looking to play, especially as you can see from a monthly standpoint, we're breaking that 25 level, 25 and a quarter, and making some new lows. So until I see a little bit more volume or some potential VPA signals that will indicate that, hey, we're looking to turn around, then there's no point in me in even entertaining this stock at all. So that's just my opinion on that one. Do what you will with it. But guys, I mean, opposed to Pfizer, this is something that you want to see, right? This is what you want to see. You can collect it. Yeah, you know what I mean? This is what you want. When you own a stock, this is what you want to see.
And so, those gaps, Joseph.
Yeah.
Those gaps.
You know what? I don't know if this was a split. I don't know.
No, that was earnings.
Split. Was that earnings? Yeah. So, but by all means, like, hey, like this is a stock that you want to own. It just does fantastic time and time again. America's darling. We love it up here in Canada as well too. So I mean, this is more of what I would want to look to own opposed to Pfizer. And speaking of dividends, I think the other day the dividend on Apple was paid out. Sharif, I know you have some Apple, as well do I. So a nice little dividend payout. I think that was on the 15th of November. So yeah.
Do you have it to automatically roll?
Yeah.
Did you program same?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I just get the notification, but you never see it.
No, exactly. So, but TD Bank updated the app today, so that's why I seen it. And
what do you mean?
The charting on it. Why did I get a fail on that one?
Oh, because TD, I don't think she likes this.
She's fighting with TD.
What can we know why, Ram? They want her to pay
for the YSL high.
Well, you know, when she's got a $300 toque on, I mean, there's likely going to be heavy spending. Ram, show them the $300.
No, but I have a bone to pick with TD because now you can't even access their ATMs past 8 o'clock or like 6 o'clock anymore. So now I have to go somewhere else, pay $4 to take out some cash at an ATM. Yeah. Once the branch is closed, you can't get to their ATMs.
What?
I don't know. You ask them. I want to call somebody. Yeah, exactly. So Ram, maybe So maybe Ram and I. Exactly. So maybe we'll figure that out there, Ram, and see what's going on because that is not fair and borderline criminal, my friend. What do you got going on?
I'm in one position at the moment, but I've got a bunch. Oh, come on, we didn't get that lemonade. Lemonade's going, guys. So I set up the dip trade there at 40s. I guess I was just too frugal. It dipped into the low 50s. I didn't get it. Here it goes. It's gonna break 40. Knocking on the door of that 40, some decent size hanging out the whole dollar level there, but LMND 16.5% now, knocking or about to break through 40. 5 penny spread, not too bad for this name. I've seen it worse in the past, excuse me. I think it just did break through 40. No, 39.99, still HOD on this one, so I got bamboozled there. Now, I've set up a dip trade also for C3AI, ticker AI on the NYSE. I've set it there a little bit higher than VWAP and higher than the 50 penny area, but this one looks like it wants to break 31 again. I'm going to pack my patience. I'm going to set up the dip trade and see what comes. This one, though, be careful, a bit of a wider spread for a $30 name. Right now, it's about 5 pennies, but I've seen it worse at times. This is the one I'm involved in right now, LUNR, looking for this one to hold at 13. If it doesn't, I'm going to really give this room to 12.85. The reason I'm going to give it to 12.85, the volume weighted average price. I got in about half the position I would normally in right there because I got in above my area. So, you know, this one was just to get in case it kept going like the other ones. And then with the idea that I do want to have planned dollar cost averages into that mid 1290s area if it does give up the ghost at 13, with the ultimate out being the breach of the volume weighted average price. So AI going, not letting me in. LMND really going through 40 now. Okay, so 50 pennies higher than when we last reported. $40.47. We were just talking about a $39.99 HOD. This one's going, guys, 17.5% now. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take this off. This is no longer valid over here. I'm gonna look to get in. Let's see. 1375 an area crest. So if I use the initial area crest as an area of possible support on the way down, previously resistance, I could try that, but it looks directional here, but I'm not going to chase it in any event. So that's my look there. BTCS is really going $4, guys. Here, this one's knocking the door of the whole dollar. Very good looking pattern here on the chart. Very respectful of the moving averages at the day high. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this one. 22% now. We're almost 22.1% knocking the door of $4, Joseph. That's what I'm looking at. Those are the small cap gappers. Oh, BBAI just did dip into VWAP at $2, but I'm telling you, this one, it looks like it's just destined to give it back over here with the volume really dropping off. And my man over here would definitely want you to look at the volume. Yeah, this is not what you want to see. Okay, I want to see especially more volume at VWAP to prove to me that people are buying it up at that area. So we'll keep an eye out on BBAI as well, but that's my look for now. What are you looking at?
Yeah, Jacoby Waters is buzzing in the chat. He's having a great time. He's up in the high triple digits from a percentage return on NFLX. Netflix, absolutely buzzing, up to $161 on the session. Jacoby, way to go on that one. I remember you talking about it the other day, last week as well, too, that you having some positions on this one. So absolutely fantastic trade on that front. And we're up crazy on the day. Let me see what the percentage is here. That's what I meant to do, to see what we are from a percentage standpoint on the session. Only up about 1.7% on the day, I guess. But still, hey, congratulations to you. This thing is absolutely roaring. Look at this 5-minute chart, Shreve. Have you seen the 5-minute on Netflix? Like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson just
60 million eyes, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
terrible fight, yeah, but 60 million eyes nonetheless.
Terrible fight. I'm glad Neil can agree on that one. Absolutely terrible fight, but hey, it is what it is. Let's go, Jacoby. Way to work on that one. Guys, I was in some IBIT not too long ago. I thought that we were going to get this break of this consolidation range here, and we did. And as you can see, the volume on the lower time frame started to pick up. As you can see, this larger volume signature, which I like. So I took this break up here, and I only took a little bit off. And then sure enough, I didn't get to get my stop out at break even. So unfortunately, that's a little bit of an L there on me. But that's okay, because I think, as I mentioned before, going back to my original thesis, is that I think we do hold this 52 level fairly well, 52.40s, and then I'm going to look to get back in. So as of right now, I still think we're going to pull back a little bit because I'm looking at MicroStrategy as well too today, and that's up a whopping 6.3% on the session. Michael Saylor's just doing Michael Saylor things and just buying Bitcoin. This guy wants to be a part of the Meg 8. So Magnificent 7, and he kind of self-proclaimed himself into that. So I mean, hey, I kind of like it now, but I'm gonna be a little bit more patient because I do think I can get a little bit better of an entry. But again, I think that might have been my entry signal. Oops, sorry there, guys. Right here, this might have been my entry signal at the break of that. But I'm just gonna pack my patience a little bit more as price starts to appreciate and go work in my favor. But that's okay. So someone in the chat, Rob EV, my guy, is asking to look at Amazon anytime. So let's pull up some Amazon, because you know that's something that I want to. Okay, yeah. So wow, from a discretionary, like look at these things, man. These things are absolutely going crazy today. So yeah, hence why the overall market is absolutely just, I guess, soaring. It was down in the pre-markets and at the open, now positive on the session. The Q's up 0.3% on the day, and the SPY only up about 0.2%, not even quite just yet. But I mean, if these Magnificent 7 stocks keep moving the way they are, there's no doubt in my mind we're going to see a little bit more of a green day ahead of us. What do you got going on, my guy?
20,700, guys. We're at a critical level right now on the future. So I was keeping an eye on that. I haven't been looking too much at the Mag 7, but a possible double top on goggles, especially with 20,700 in focus now. If we do reject off 700 and at least retrace a little bit, maybe back into the closing print from yesterday, which is, let me just make sure I got that. Yeah, 20,633. So if we retrace a little bit, goggles could reject this 177 area and come back down a little bit. So I'm keeping my eye there on GOOGL. It's up 1%. So let's put some respect on its name. The only reason I'm looking at it for a double top, again, 700 in focus on the NQ. We're at a critical area here. The IB high, the implied balance high, the high that we got into there at 945, I believe. It was 177.10. Technically, the high of the day is 177.16. If you were to get in now, you're not risking a whole lot because you can just give it to 16s for the high day break. So that's what I'm looking at right now on the NQ. Let's see if we can weasel into this. I'm going to take a small position here on Google for the short. I know I'm kind of going against the trend, but we're going to give this one the old community college try. And I'm going to give it to the high of the day break. So if it breaks the high of the day, I'll get stopped out. So we're going to risk about 15 pennies or so on Google with this bad boy here. So let's see. I'm going to put the first beak wetter possibly at 88. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I just added to the position, Joseph. So I'll have to take that out there. So we'll just take that out. So I'll set up my beak wetter at 88 just like I wanted to. So a bit of a fat finger to start the day. That's all right. We're going to look to do a little bit better. Looking for goggles to retrace, reject 177, the future at 20,700. Not really breaking through it right now, but neither is Google giving up the ghost at 177 either. So we'll have to pack our patience, see if we can extract anything off that. LUNR continues to annoy me. I'm in at this level with the ultimate out being the breach of 80. So we'll keep that one on tap. And what else we got over here? We're in APLD for the area low. This has been putting in higher lows and not with higher highs, with a flat top in and around 9. So I'm seeing if I can catch the higher low on APLD and then wet my beak there with these resting orders that I've got in front of $9. So those are the 3 trades that I have on at the moment. Let's see how they do.
Hey, yeah, beautiful stuff there, Sharif. I'm still waiting. I think I am going to get a better price here on this one. The market does seem slightly extended right now. So at some point, I do think we're going to get a little bit of a deep pullback. I could be wrong, but as of right now, it's just the way that Netflix, Google, and Amazon are moving. I do think we get that pullback, and we're going to get a little bit of selling pressure, but that is totally fine because we will be ready to take advantage of that, guys. So, I mean, here, just looking at the Bitcoin chart, it looks like we want to kind of take that next leg higher. I didn't mind this. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of a pullback and then some more momentum. As you can see, the volume, as we appreciate and price the volume, isn't really accelerating how I would like to see kind of out of the breakout of the consolidation. But again, it can step in at any minute. We did do that big move. You mentioned from a percentage metric how much, Sharif mentioned how much of a percentage metric we were up. It was like 30-something percent, I believe you said, from the breakout price. So just keep that in mind. The asset does need to breathe, but these are strong signals. This can kind of point out that, like, look how strong this asset is because of how deep, how not deep, how shallow those pullbacks are. And then we sit on top, kind of forming that ABCD pattern. And I know Obi mentioned 3-bar plays. This is a little bit more than a 3-bar play, but you can look at it like a 4 or 5. And I said, I think we do go higher once we sit on top of this range, this 90K range. I do think once that volume and that momentum steps in, when it does, if and when it does, we do go for that push to $100,000. And I mentioned before, guys, that we had a lot of open interest around that $65 mark, being the first day that IBIT is optionable. So I still think that that's still lingering. I'm pretty sure the majority of holders aren't aware of this just yet. So just keep that in mind, guys. And I think we are going to get that pullback that I am patiently waiting for here. It'll only be a matter of time from that standpoint. But guys, and Google's trading fantastic as well too. Up only about 0.9% on the session, which is totally fine. But I like to see Google sitting around $180 would be ideally for me because it is my second largest holding in the long term.
I like it, Joseph. All right, here we go. So we took some profits here on LUNR curling up. So defending generally the volume weighted average price next beak wetter. Where's that bad boy at?
Oh, yeah, I got you, man.
I love my man's always got me. I appreciate you. All right, so we're going to set up the beak. We've already set up the beak wetter at 10s. Where are we long? 95s. So we'll see if we can get that just printed at 5s there. Doing well on goggles. So we took already a couple of outs there. Second or third beak wetter, excuse me, setting up at 75 on goggles. But I'm keeping my eye on the future. And we're not really rejecting 20,700. We're hovering at it. We're hanging out. We're getting to know it. Doesn't really seem like we're leaving it though. So you're not getting that directional pullback. And as I scan some of the other Mag 7 names to kind of gauge the strength, you're not seeing a whole lot of weakness. Now you are getting a bit of a top on Amazon. I'm also seeing a bit of a top on Google. You're not getting that on Microsoft. You're not getting that on Apple. You're not getting that on Nvidia. Tesla's whiffling and waffling doesn't look toppy either. So I'm a little concerned that this 20,700, it continues. That's just my own personal feeling over here. So we're wetting our beak for some profits along the way so that in case the trend does change, we're not caught holding the bag and then we start punching screens and get fired. So that's the look there. Now I'm still setting up here on LUNR at 1310. Looks like it didn't weasel up there quite yet. Looks like we got to 08, so fine by me. Let's look at the other trade that we've got on. APLD, we're long 78s. We're printing 77, still not printing any newer lows. We're kind of a little bit higher than that 869 area trough, excuse me, over here, but we're certainly still not towards the high end of the range. 13.25% right now on APLD. Looking for this one to clear out all my orders there. I think it can, given how it's traded before. What I mean by that is it gets a surge of buying and then clears out all the different levels because it eats them all up. So we'll see if that happens on this particular occasion. First peak wetter, I'm waiting for 85s, 88s, and the 94s there on APLD. Let's flip back to some of the other ones here. LUNR, we're moving again into 1310. But I'm not really surprised ex post facto, looking at this after the fact, that 1310 is kind of rejecting. It's an area trough over here. After we weaseled our way into 1369, we came back into 1310 and used it as support. So if it's support prior, does it act as resistance this time? So that's a little bit of a concern. I always want to give you kind of both sides of the coin. I never want to have my, like bull goggles or bear goggles on. What's honestly the opinion here?
Did you say beer goggles? Did you say beer goggles? Beer or bull goggles?
I can go for some beer goggles on the weekend, but certainly not when you're trading.
No.
No, I haven't had beer goggles in a hot minute, and I hope to keep it that way. But who can say that during their adolescent years and growing up?
Beer goggles.
Beer goggles. Come on now.
Confidence cans.
Yes, sir. What are you looking at there, Joseph?
Yeah, I'm honestly looking over here at Nvidia. Sharif, I'm going to get you to fact check me here on the expected move here because I have some data written down on my notes for the highly anticipated earnings report that we have here coming on Nvidia tomorrow after the close. So I think a lot of people are waiting and excited for that one. So I was looking at the options chain, just seeing where this open interest is, where all these open contracts are laying. And we have a lot of open interest around 180 and 120 bucks. Nvidia.
That's for tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so after the bell.
Yeah, let's see what you got here.
We got 8.3%.
That's what I got. 8.5% there. Same thing. Sharif uses a great platform as well, and I do too. So I just want to see the expected move. And then I went and looked at some open interest to see where the options market is kind of anticipating this move. So guys, keep that in mind. If you're holding and you're really in the money, then you should be good. You'll be totally fine on this stock. But again, I think a lot of people are waiting to see Nvidia report. It's so hard to maintain that growth cycle that they've been on for the past couple of years. But this company is just still, there's so much demand for the Blackwell chip, so much demand for their chips. So keep in mind, Jensen can pull a rabbit out of a hat at any moment. So just keep that in mind because it's such a fantastic company. And as our good buddy Danny Ives at Wedbush says, this is the AI revolution. So expect this growth. It's hard to maintain the growth, but expect it to be steady and continuous from here on out. So that's my look. I'm really excited for that report. It's going to be a really good one. But guys, I didn't get that pullback to VWAP on Bitcoin. I was waiting for it, but it just seems so strong, just hovering around on top of that 90K level. So what am I going to do? I'm probably going to have to dabble a little bit more into this, guys. You know I have definitive outs. If we break this support level, then I'm out. Then I know that the chances of me getting a better price are extremely higher. But as of right now, this thing's just slowly grinding higher without your guy Joey O. So yeah, we're gonna look to get a little bit involved into this one to see if we break out and if we can push for 53. And then I know someone in the chat also mentioned that they think that it can go all-time highs today. I'm not going to disagree. But one thing that I'm going to need to see is we're going to need to see a lot of volume step in, and that can totally happen now that we have options contracts. They are a little bit farther dated out. You're only going to get the monthlies for now, which is totally fine. Great for hedging. Even buying those leaps. I was looking at the leaps. Did I mention the leaps yet today, Sharif? So I'll talk about the leaps.
No.
So I was looking at the 2027 expiry, 787 days out for the 52 at the money call is a whopping $2,500. All right, it gives you the right. It gives you the right to own those shares. But if you're going to buy those shares outright, that's going to cost you around $5K. All right, so just keep that in mind. I'm looking at that leap, and Sharif, when price comes to me, I'm going to be buying one of those leaps, and you know I'm going to be buying one of those leaps. I'm really looking forward to that. So I looked at that this morning as well too. I mentioned Netflix today because this thing has been just grinding higher. What an absolute massive move to the top side on Netflix today, as well as Amazon, kind of mirroring each other from a price action standpoint. Now slowly pulling in a little bit, but rightfully so, because there's no pullback in like the past 5, 10, 15, over close to an hour, there's been no pullback on Netflix. So keep that in mind. I mean, if it's this strong with the volume stepping in and the lower volume on the pullbacks, there's no doubt in my mind that this thing can continue to move higher and higher, my guy.
I like it. Guys, I want to remind you, a new way to vote for the afternoon rundown. We already have 632 people have voted, and I can't thank all of you guys enough. This is the move. So we're going to put 2 polls, one in the beginning half of the show, the first half an hour. We're going to take the top 3 of that poll. So there's 4 in there, or 5. There should be 5 in there, Ram. We'll put the top 3 from those, and then we're going to do a second poll, the second half of the show, and we'll take the top 2 from there. So far, 638 people have voted, 38% for my man over here, IBIT. I'm sure he'll be happy. Obviously, IBIT, optionable, Bitcoin, all-time highs, yada, yada, yada. You guys get the move. And then second one, Donald John Trump with backed, BA or BKKT. That's the company that they want to acquire or said to be wanting to acquire, reports the Financial Times. That one has 32% with Walmart. Not a distant second, but it's got 20%. Completely understandable there. We'll see if Walmart makes it on. So get into the chat, guys. Vote using the poll. It's a lot easier now. You don't have to fumble with exclamation points and dollar signs and spaces and all that good stuff. Get into the chat. Super easy to vote. And the top 5 will make it on, and we'll obviously bring that to you. So that's the look there. Now, I'm involved in this trade over here. Just took a bit of a beak wetter on APLD. Got in at 78s, took out some there at 86s. Next little level, 89s, and then the 94s. This is putting in higher lows. Oops. It's putting in a bit of a higher low situation with a flat top in and around 895 to 10, or sorry, 895 to 9, excuse me. So what I'm looking for is try to get in at the bottom end of the range, wet my beak for a possible flat top breakout, whether or not that manifests. An entirely different story. The other trade that I'm involved in right now, LUNR break even on this one, got it at the low end of the range. Just as I said that, it dipped, but then it got bought up quite aggressively. Anyway, the stop's already in place. This one's either going to take 13.10 or I'll get stopped out. We'll see which one comes first. I'm still in goggles, but I may not be in goggles for that much longer, especially if it hangs out over here above 177. The future also with a green candle right now on the 5. So I don't want to paper hand this trade, especially if it ends up rejecting this 177. I'm going to feel really bad about myself.
Especially because you've been working on the grip strength, right? Ooh. Especially.
I did deads yesterday too, by the way.
Ooh,
yeah,
we
man.
hit
Yeah,
shoulders
man.
yesterday.
Makes grip
shoulders
deads.
and buy, yeah.
Have you ever done deads and lunges, step back lunges?
Oh, no.
Booty is on fire,
today,
the glutes, bro.
eh?
Oh my, the glutes are killing today. So it's what I wanted. So I'm not gonna complain about it.
Burn, baby. Feel that burn.
Right. So if this ends up breaking down and I'm not part of goggles at 177, I feel awfully bad about myself. So I'd rather pack my patience with this one. Those are the trades we've got on. There isn't a whole lot to celebrate. They're decent trades so far, but whether or not they manifest, a bit of a different story at the moment, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Mr. Long Shorts made half my daily goal scalping SMCI long off 28, but do you think I was capable holding any of it for a bigger run? Oh well, green is green. Cheers to the midday show. Cheers to you, dude. Look, man, you hear Joseph trolling me about the grip strength, but there is a real thing behind that. At least for me, I like to pretend that I have reasons why I get out, okay? So if I see something on the book that's scaring me, if there's a price pattern, if there's a recurring pattern on the chart where we keep rejecting off that level, to me, it's just not like, hey, I made enough money, let me get out. I like to try to get out for a specific reason. Maybe, you know, trying to wrap your mind around that might help. I'm spitballing, obviously. Another thing to do is, you know, to use a predetermined area out. So if you have a measured move analysis, fibs, you know, my favorite pasta, Fibonacci's. You ever heard of that?
Fibonacci, yeah, Fibonacci.
Right? So I don't know if you know, but it was a running gag. I called it. Yeah. So you know exactly.
Fibonacci is.
So anything. Fib extensions you could use to gauge areas where you could wet your beak. So that would be my suggestion to you, my man. But always, you're always obviously.
And it's all fun and games, right? Like we kind of troll each other, but in all seriousness, it is one of the hardest skills to acquire is to hold on to those winners in trading. As per, just to add on to Sharif, do I think you're capable? I don't know you personally, but anything you set your mind to, you have the capability to do so.
Well said, Joseph.
Yeah, there you go. So
Man,
therefore, you're capable.
Yeah, therefore you are capable. Yeah.
So
I'm reading this book. It's kind of interesting. Brendo recommended it to me, and it's one of those ones where I started. I didn't really like it, but I'm second time around on it now. It's called Do Hard Things, and I didn't really like it because he kind of, you know,
because it was hard.
Huh?
Because it was hard.
No, it's just because he's a little bit, he's not of my political sphere. I can just say that. So he was using some political metaphors in the beginning that I wasn't a big fan of, but he actually drops hot lines scientifically into actually how to become tougher, you know, his definition of toughness. And one of those things is, brother, like if you have a goal, oh baby, sorry I got to interrupt here because we're printing on Google. Thank you, appreciate that. Let's set up some more beak wetters. Nice move down on goggles there as we kind of hover around 177. So nicely, this was an addition, by the way, so we got in a little bit more there on goggles. So we'll look to take the next area here, 75. Yeah, it didn't really dip down. But to go back to kind of what I was saying there, he has a scientific method of trying to achieve things that you don't think you can achieve. So if anybody's interested, the book is called Do Hard Things, and it's an interesting read, but you're gonna have to get through that initial, the initial first chapter is a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, that's a lot. It goes for a lot of things in life. I think Sharif, right? So it just, if you want to grow in life, you got to do things that put you out of your comfort zone, and therefore they may be hard, right? And then again, it's like options, right? When you first start into options, they seem confusing, and you got all the Greeks and open interest and sweeps and all this fancy terminology. But the more you're around it, the more you'll have the ability to understand it. So it's just getting out of that comfort zone and just taking the leap.
Absolutely agree.
Absolutely
agree. So LUNR here, Joseph, it looks like we're about to get stopped out any second. If it does breach this area, it keeps bouncing off this particular 1285 for whatever reason. I've got my stop at 84s. So come what may, we get stopped out. We do get stopped out. Still waiting on Google to see if this one wants to drop down. Last but not least here, we'll have a look at APLD. Still on the money on this one, but not at the top end of the range. But Joseph and I will be back in a hot 10 minutes or so. Sorry, Neil. But for now, we've got Neil's lesson of the day. Get it, Neil.
Hey, everybody. Lesson of the day back as I've come back from Rome, and we'll see if it'll be actually 10 minutes long. I don't know. We don't put a time limit on these things, just whatever it ends up being. But, you know, when you talk about things coming back, oftentimes we like to buy the dip in a general sense. And when a stock has been making a strong move or a continued move to the upside, sometimes you get pretty hefty dips. And a lot of times they can scare traders away from trading those stocks based on the weakness they have. Oh, you think the top is being put in. But there are some signs to look for where you can maybe join a trade without having to catch a falling knife. Now, one of the reasons why I want to look at that was because of what I saw in Palantir today. Palantir, to a certain extent, SoFi, and we'll get to Nvidia, which we've actually traded. But Palantir yesterday clearly had a hefty pullback. Now, anyone who's looked at the chart, I mean, you understand the run that it's been on, and a lot of people talking about, oh, it's a meme stock, it's overvalued, all that good stuff. So if we come to the chart here on Palantir, not telling anything you don't know, the stock had gone 50% up in just a couple of weeks. And then you had the biggest pullback day there yesterday. So it's probably not your first look and trading down in the pre-market to think for a long trade. So I'm not telling anybody that you're going to be on the bid here, what seems like a support at 59. However, once it's held on to this support level, and you've been able to calm down a little bit on the stock, well, an interesting thing happens. You don't have to catch a falling knife when it bounces off of the support. You can just look for it to start trending back on up. Now, one of the themes I'm going to talk about is, well, make sure you play it inside of the range, because it showed you the bounce was from 59 to about 62.5, but that does give you some opportunity for a couple of trades once it's already held. So at 9:30, it bounces off the level. You're not catching the falling knife. I'm not advocating doing that. It would have worked, but that's not the play. It then holds VWAP once. Then you get more confirmation of the VWAP hold. That's your first chance at an entry. The other one, if you just want to sit out the opening range altogether, was when it finally breaks out this local high at 61 bucks. Doesn't really look back. You can give it to a prior high, and then a push not quite into that high of the day. But it's more about, hey, if it breaks that low, you don't have to worry about it. You can just say either I'm looking for shorts or you just walk away from the stock. But once it's held, you get a couple of good shots for a nice little trade in there. And while Palantir was the idea for making this lesson of the day, when I was going over SoFi, yay, SoFi, it's another one that came into play for me because it had already done the dip. So you already had a dip. Now, obviously, I wasn't here last week to be able to see what was the actual bottom. So you got that pullback into 13 bucks. It holds it the second day, gives you your range-bound trade, right? There's your bounce. There's your higher low. There's your pull back in. Exactly what Palantir is doing today. SoFi did this last week. Interesting thing happened on SoFi that you can now play off of. Well, that first bounce zone, 1375, look at it go from resistance while in that bottom channel to support. And this is what an uptrending stock can do. When it establishes a support level, you start to have the buyers work off of it. When it breaks through resistance, you get that trend back up. And then SoFi, instead of giving you the double bottom like Palantir off of the prior low, it gives you the prior high as your double bottom. And again, you don't have to sit on that bid right at the open. When I slide back to the 3-minute chart, it's a similar setup. It holds the bottom right at 9:30. You get a break of a key price at the top, and then a hold of VWAP. Opening range eventually breaks out, and you get a push to the prior high. Again, it's just finding a place to join some trends. Now, I was on IBIT at VWAP, fine, that's great. Joe likes it too. We all like crypto. But here's a couple of plays where you had the support level, obviously, and you're just looking at the previous day's range. Once it holds, join the trend, and then you're off to the races. Now, clearly, we did trade Nvidia, so the last example I want to give you is essentially Nvidia, and it wasn't even as clean as the other two. Now, the other two, you had either the prior day bottom or the prior day tops to give you your dip level. Nvidia, while still having that note of a pullback, and there's a deep pullback the last couple of days, you're bottoming yesterday. This was nowhere near double bottoming at 137. When we started the morning show, I was looking for, hey, it'd be nice if we got the 137, show the double bottom after the pullback. It just didn't. So the only other real levels to look at would have been previous closing price or the top. So this was a case of, okay, well, it held that one. We never even got a test of lower. Once it starts going, we're just going to play it out and about above the 142. And that's all we did. Again, this just comes down to, is the stock in an upward trend? I get it. The market doesn't always go up. But if the stock is in a general upward trend, you get a good pullback. Here in Nvidia, you had a good one yesterday on Palantir. You had one last week on SoFi, but it's in an upward trend. What you're looking for is those continuation type plays. Once it's made some kind of a turn off that pullback, you get one of those days, you get a day like that, just look for it to hold key support. You got the closing price here on Nvidia for one option. For another one on SoFi, you had simply the prior highs back to the lows. Once it holds, join the trend back in. You know where you're going to be wrong. And then lastly, where it all started for the idea today was on Palantir. It's got an obvious support. It did a big pullback. It was only day 2 after that pullback. Hold, higher low, trying to play to the range. Palantir seemingly not done unless it gets to 62.5. But the idea is, if a stock is trending up, your first thought when you find dip support should be, how can I work along off of it? Not this stock is about to fall apart and I should just be trying to short it. trend is your friend till the end when it bends, and that's a saying that we love around here. So there's 3 examples of how you can play it, especially when there has been a pretty strong dip and you're looking for the next rip. There's your lesson of the day.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Yeah.
Poor Dara. She didn't do anything.
Oh my God. Go back,
She did
please.
nothing.
Put that back up on the screen for another second here.
I love how fish hands.
Yeah, that is
No,
fantastic.
we need paper hands.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
actually.
man. You've been
I love
working
how
on the
Dara
good
is
shit.
like so innocuous.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's like getting pooped on in this picture over here. But
Over
I do
there,
like
buddy.
look at the candlesticks in the back.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
It's a bar, Joe, and a grill, but there's also trading.
I'm more curious about what you're cooking up there. If anything, I want to know what's on Fenerbahce.
Fenerbahce says
yeah, I want to know
right.
what's on the grill. Steaks. These fins. Oh.
I'm so silly. I didn't see that. That is actually pretty cool, Ram. I know, but like I think you did tell me about it last time, but the memory isn't what it used to be. So
that's funny.
Old man hands can't hang. Somebody wanted me to say that earlier in the chat. It's been a hot minute since I said it. All right, so let's talk about how we're doing here on Google. We're printing. We're doing real well, but 40 pennies in the money here on Google. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 outs. Let's set up some more, Joseph.
Let's go.
We're gonna look to we already wet our beak there at the $0.50, so it did work its way down to the $0.50. So let's talk a little bit about where we could encounter some support now that we've given up the ghost at that 177. Well, we've also given up the ghost at the 10 exponential on the 5. We're still above, though, that 20 exponential, and oftentimes when something is trending really strongly, like Google was here, the deeper retracements happen to go into the 20. The more shallow, I don't want to say the perfunctory, well, I just said it, but the shallower retracements is what I'm trying to say come into the 10. So I don't want to take out too much here, especially because I already wet my beak at the $0.50, which is awfully close to that 20 exponential. What I'm looking for, this area, look at this 3 candle, hold up here in and around 176. We have a bit of a range, 176.15 to 176. That'll be my next profit target on GOOGL. Let's see how this is doing on the day. It's still up, obviously, on the day. Green for all these Mag 7 names, save and except, I believe, for Microsoft, which is down about 0.25%. So GOOGL still at that, it's breaking down below the $0.50, Joseph. So it's time to wet our beak over here. Let's take it out at 45s. Oh, that sucks.
That's all right.
Old man hands can't hang,
Yeah, no, that's right. You'll get it, man. You can hang, man.
You can hang, man. You're like, shut up, bro. Stop complaining.
You can hang.
Take the trade.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's a look there. One more thing before I pass it on to you, Joseph. We're still in APLD. I had my beak wetter at 94s. We worked up into 94, as you can see, but it didn't cross. Bids got to cross as well. This one's still working its way up, in my humble opinion, for a flat top break at around $9. Higher lows wherever you look there, and that's where I tried to get in at the lower end of the range. We're going to have to deal with the volatility, though, as it comes down. Sad I didn't get that 894 print. We'll look to do a little bit better. What are you looking at, Joseph?
My buddy Nick W. in the chat asked me to take a look at TGT for him. I think TGT is in tough. They didn't have the best stint here in Canada. I think it might be their second swing coming up here in Canada, because I remember when I was in school in Guelph, a Target popped up in one of the malls there, and then a couple months later it was gone. So yeah. So I think they're in their second stint trying up here in Canada. So I don't know about this. If you're gonna look to go in the retailer and consumer staples, I know you have a play into the earnings report, Nick W. But as you can see, you have these large gaps up. I don't know about this one. I can't really speak too much. I can only give you some technicals based on it. And then, when I'm giggling, there's fist pumping going on beside me. So good times. But yeah, Nick, if you're holding on to that contract, then by all means, best of luck to you. But I think Walmart was definitely the better play. Again, that's hindsight. The report already came out, so just keep that in mind. But again, I think you're going to need a strong report from TGT in order for this thing to kind of break these resistance zones here. You can see we have a pivot high as well too, coming into the earnings report. So again, you'd want to see that cleared on the report as well too. So TGT. A bit of a tough look there. We're going to zoom out a little bit and go from a longer time frame perspective, and we're far off of the highs here, guys. So just keep that in mind. The report, I don't know if you're just going flat out contracts with that one, but I mean, I'm not going to tell you to hedge your position, but just keep in mind that it may gap down. It can gap up as well too, because I'm pretty sure Lowe's had a good report and then gap down as well too. Sharif, if
yes, sir.
I'm staying corrected. Did you guys cover
Yeah.
Lowe's today?
Yeah,
so
I
they had
can cover it right here.
Yeah, they had a double beat as well, I'm pretty sure too, and it
Are they
gapped
up
down.
or are
So
they
they're
down?
down. It gapped
Down,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, it gapped down on the session. So just keep that in mind. Again, I was too busy, giddy about IBIT this morning to kind of dive into the reports, but I know that Walmart, they both had double beats, but the way the street perceived them was totally different. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I can cover it right here, Joseph, because I'd make my notes and stuff for the morning. Here, they beat the Wall Street estimate, so Q3 adjusted EPS beat. Net income did drop, though, from 1.77 billion into down to 1.7, so a bit of a miss there. Revenue did decline as well to about $20.5 billion from the same period last year, so a drop on net income, a drop on revenue, but they did beat estimates. So as Neil once said, there's no good or bad earnings. There was better or worse than expectations. That's kind of the look there. They did update, though, their full year sales guidance, Joseph, on the higher end of the range, $83 to $83.5 billion in revenue for the full year. Prior to that, they were guiding 82.7 to 83.2, so a nice bump up there. Comparable sales are expected to decline 3 to 3.5%. Key drivers of growth, in case you're wondering, do-it-yourself projects, professional home improvement services, and online shopping, as we continue to see that grow. We're at Walmart, just case in point quickly, 20% year-over-year e-commerce growth for the States. Wow. So that continues to grow, dude. Yeah.
That's huge.
Home Depot also reported steady trends in smaller projects, but we know COVID probably took a lot of people's money in upgrading and revamping your homes. Up 22% year to date, but underperforming the S&P's 24% move. Challenges coming up for this company: higher interest rates and a cautious consumer spending continue to impact demand for the larger scale projects, but the sector does show modest recovery trends in some areas. Some professional landscaping, pool, roofing, sales supply, whatever, doing a little bit better there. Now, I set up a last beak wetter here on GOOGL at $0.33. This is my last out, guys. We did come close. We got into 36s. Now we're up to 53s. So I'll have to keep my eye here on GOOGL as it works its way back above the $0.50 now. Let's see how this trade's doing, though. Bang! We got the fill there on APLD at 94s. Happy with this one. Let's set up a bit of a higher beak wetter. We're not going to go so far as to say high daybreak yet. We're going to set it up at the high of the day, which is 98s. Oh, goodness. I just added. God, I'm an idiot. I'm taking it out there. No, I'm not going to hold on to that. There we go. So we'll set it up there for 98s.
Chart's a little messed up there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why she was zooming in. Oh, she was zooming in. Ram, can you unzoom, please? Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. No, it was not. It was not. It was not.
Ram did that on purpose. Guys.
I like it. That might be my new favorite picture, to be honest.
I look like such a goof. I don't even know what picture that's from, man. All right, guys, I wanted to let you know that AI is really moving here. Great day for AI, 21.5%. Look at that, 31 dip and pop right into that key area of support. I got to tell you, I mistraded, or I didn't trade. I put my resting dip trade in the wrong area. I was looking to shadow the volume weighted average price. It looks as if it was a support and resistance flip right at that 30.75, and then up we go. This is what I'm talking about here, this area crest that we printed at 9:55 a.m. at around 30.85, 30.75. You double bottom there at 11:30, 11:35, and then boom goes the dang dynamite, taking out the high of the day at 32 and printing a new one at the $0.33. I saw some people there in the chat say short AI. Okay, fantastic. I mean, you wouldn't be the first person to do that successfully, and here's why. Let's have a look at their short float. From my recollection, I'm pretty sure it's pretty high. Yes, 21.06%, and it's not the highest I've seen it at. I remember this being in the high to mid-30s, so a little bit lower now. 21% is nothing to sneeze at, though, so this one could definitely get parabolic if we hit it in the right area. So I'm definitely keeping AI on the side chart over here. see if we can weasel into this one, Joseph.
Okay, that's a little bit of an odd request. Can you show us your watches? All right. Oh, it's my watch.
They saw it on the camera. They like it.
I like the watches. Dang, bling bling.
This guy, bro. AI is freaking up, man.
Is it? Is C3 or CP3,
yeah,
whatever
C3,
it is?
yeah. Look at this. High day. It's going, guys. Here comes the half dollar.
C3PO. Anyways, guys, I'm
sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry about that. There was a super chat.
Oh, yes. Cover that one there, my guy.
My bad, bro.
No problem.
All right. Shout out to SP Williams. I'm sorry it took me a little bit to get to this, but I promise I will. ACRS, $5 super chat. Thank you, obviously, for that. So this is the weekly on ACRS, so let's not judge it too quick. Obviously, this is a tough-looking chart, but looks like we're doing a little bit better now. Like this latest break and take over here. So this is the weekly. Let's flip now to the daily. Get a bit of a less wide perspective. So look, man, this has been a dang rocket ship since the end of October, excuse me. Since that breakout above $1.25 in October, we're up on like 307%. So it's a great look so far. Now, with respect to technical resistance, we had to worry about that 4 to 4.5, but we're way through that right now. We weaseled up into 5. We're trading at 486. So this area over here, back from October of 2023, let's see how we close out on the day, but I feel like we may have taken it. Second area that we need to worry about is this area over here at around 6.5 to 6.75. Look at the interaction over here back in October of 23, again, September of 23, and then we got to go all the way back to March of 23 for interactions with that 6.5, 6 2/3. We could definitely work up there. Let's look at the intraday chart now. Start with the 15. That's a beautiful look, man. This is a 2-day look here. So from yesterday to the high today, we're up 140% on 2 days. So this is a good look on here on ACRS. And it just behooves me to give you the information on it. $343 million market cap with a float of around 69.5 million shares. CRS.
What button did you hit there to find that percentage metric? Because I know it's the same
on this.
Yeah.
So you go into the Fundamentals Explorer.
Yeah.
And you go Company Profile.
Yeah.
Scroll down. And there's
no how you went from the technical. Remember how you went from like point A to point B and it showed the percentage move on it.
You just drag and drop. Isn't that sick? Look
yeah. That's what I need.
Just hold down and draw from point to point, and then look how it shows the percentage on.
Wow.
Yeah, but you're using the trading view ones.
Yeah, I am. It doesn't work like that one. Oh, I got maybe. Let's see here. I'm gonna mess.
Yeah, you got to use the old school ones.
Right.
In any event, Joseph, this is a fantastic look. Let's zoom in a little bit more on the 5-minute here on ACRS. So where would I weasel into this? Okay, so right now it's holding the 10 exponential on the 5. I'm talking about ACRS up 53%.
Oh, okay.
Look, SP Williams, I like it around here. VWAP. I'd have to pack my patience. Why do I like VWAP? Well, it's at 440, but it's also coinciding with the implied balance high, which is also right at that 440. So double whammy, double threat there for a possible support level. Personally, I wouldn't wait till 440. I pick it up at the half dollar, just knowing that that could be a psychological area of support. So 450, that's 30 pennies away from here. No, it's a decent, healthy retracement so long as it stays above VWAP. That's how I'd get in, but I'm more conservative. Let me know, if you do better on that, and let me know how you trade it.
Yep, beautiful stuff. Rohit Sharma, another $2 super chat. Thank you very much for that one. Mara, please. Hey, love the politeness. So anything with some good manners. Yeah, big. Here, so let's break down this time frame a little bit here. Okay, guys, now, as you can, I mentioned this before, it did fill the gap to the downside, so keep that in mind. This Bitcoin miner is starting to pick up a little bit of steam from today anyways, but just look at this choppiness. Like, hey, I don't know. Again, you're not gonna. As soon as I see that type of price action, I'm gonna turn my head and look for something else. Let's see how far we are off of the all-time highs. About 39% still off of those all-time highs. So keep that in mind, there, guys. So again, as long as Bitcoin is gonna continue to appreciate, you're gonna get these moves in Mara. But from a fundamental standpoint, the margins are a little bit hurt by this because it costs so much to mine Bitcoin. And I don't know how much they have, and I know they have a couple 100,000 at least, so they're one of the larger miners, but again, it's so hard to be in that industry just because of the energy costs as well too. So just keep that in mind. I think there's better stocks to play. If you're looking to do a Bitcoin play, it's best to just hold the underlying asset, I think. Go IBIT or go actual BTC. Don't put your money or go with something that is trending more, right? So let's go with another miner here and take a look at Riot to see how they're doing. And again, it's kind of the same narrative here, guys. Just go with the actual underlying asset or something that is actually working, and that could be MicroStrategy, even though it is a little bit more expensive. But absolutely, just putting in this monster day, up about close to about 10% on the session, 9.5. So just keep that in mind. Don't fight those stocks. If the price action isn't clean, then don't try to milk a stone, as I like to say. So just find something that's working. Find the Walmarts, find the MicroStrategies, find those trending stocks that are consistently appreciating in price, not that are gonna make you go bald in the near term, where it's up, down, up, down, up, down, and you're just like, oh my God, what is going on here? You're just in the wrong stock, and I think that comes with more experience. Just find stuff that is working and continuously works, and then history will tend to repeat itself, right? So just keep that in mind. I don't love Mara. It's fun to play. We know that we have our guy BPI loved Mara. Oh, yeah. But it's like, man, it's tough. But we got another $5 super chat. This one's for you, Sharif. Sir. Sharif, which moving average do you use, and which crossovers do you consider most importantly for day and swing trades, my guy? Okay, so certainly for day trades, I'm looking at the exponential moving averages. The only reason I do that is because what we talked about yesterday. Exponential moving average more heavily weights the recent price action than it does the more historical. For example, let's take the 20 exponential moving average. Day 19, day 18, day 17, they weigh more in the calculation than day 1, 2, and 3. Not so for the simple. So my suggestion to you is, and it's only a suggestion, use the simple moving averages for your long term, your daily, your weekly, even maybe your 4 hour. I don't use it for the 4 hour, but maybe that's one use you can use it for. So leave it for the long term. Now, I use the following for the long term. I use the 50 and the 200 simple moving average. Those are my long terms. And then I like the 10 and I like the 20 exponential moving averages for that intraday, that swing, that 3-day look, that 3-week look. Those to me seem to work a bit better, but everybody has their own kind of golden combination. Experiment, like the lesson today said, experiment with different combinations. The one that we posited to you was, again, 50 and 200, 10 and 20, but by no means is that the only exception. A lot of people use a 9. Some people use the 8. So any number of variations there. So I hope that helps. And which moving average do you use and which crossovers are the most important? The crossovers that I would submit to you are the most important, at least from a longer term perspective, is going to be that that 200 and that 50, right? That's the golden cross, the death cross. That doesn't depreciate the value of the 50 the 20 crossing above the 10 or the 20 and the 50. You could use those in combinations with one another. I personally have never used the 20 and the 50, but I've heard other people use it with success. So I hope that helps, and let me know how you do. Shout out to Rohit. But I also have to cover this one. Nick Dub, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Nick. He's talking to you here too, Joe. Appreciate the TGT thoughts on that. Sharif, thoughts on VRT. Provides cooling for chips. Yeah, I was just reading about them. Thank you for that. Provides cooling for chips, so has upside of chips, but less risky than chips because it won't overheat, obviously. I like that. I like that one. Okay, see you there. A little bit of a joke. Let's have a look at the actual intraday chart. It's a good looking chart right here, wouldn't you say, Ram? Very directional. Looks like a buy program if I've ever seen one. VRT is the ticker over here. Let me just load that up. Why isn't it loaded? VRT. There we go. So good look from an intraday perspective. Very respectful of the 10 moving average. So if you're looking at trading this intraday, I'd say look for a pickup off the 10. Now, I don't think that's what you're asking me, though, because it looks like you've got some moolah invested in this one long term, and this is a beautiful looking chart. This is what you want to see when you're looking for trends, guys. Fantastic look, and you could tell there was respect here for the 200, despite the fact that it did breach it. Look how quickly
it took back that 200. So the speed at which it really retakes the level. So this is a daily. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Get a look at the weekly. Okay, so it won't show me the weekly for whatever reason. So we'll just stick with the daily there. Now, I like the trend. It's a blue sky setup. There's nothing to talk about here other than just printing more highs. Now, if you're asking me where do I get in some more, I like that 125 to 130 area. Look at that area crest over here that we rejected at, that we took with this big boy candle. So if you want to come back and test that 125 to 130, I'd add very little there. With the majority of the position really looking at this 115, you have an area crest over here at 112 with a very similar area here between 112 and 115. So if you were to come back into this area, I'd like to see this 115, 112-ish area get defended. But, you know, I'd be initially adding on the dip into 125, 130. Let me know how that goes, though. Shout out to Nick Dub, one of the OGs in the chat.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, I like Nick Dub. Brandon Welsh asked me to take a look at IO and Q for him. Absolutely, my guy. See you in there all the time. So we'll do just that. And you say you have some calls, I believe, on that. Joey O, you have some break overhead resistance soon, and then it becomes support again. Let's take a look, my friend. On IO and Q. Yeah, this thing's been absolutely ripping. You're getting that volume to support this move to the top side. So that's one thing that we're always going to look at, engage. And so you get the nod on that from me. Is it going to break this all-time highs, Brendan? I'm not too sure. As of right now, it's looking like it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. You're on the right side of the volume. You're trending in the right direction. So hopefully your options don't expire before you get that break, because we know we are a little bit time constrained with those. So keep that in mind. But I do think in the foreseeable future that it does break, and then you're going to get those new highs on IO and Q, and it's looking like it's going to be all-time highs. So you are in price discovery. So good look on that. Let's go to a higher time frame here for you. I don't know why we stalled. All right, that's it. Once you stall like that, you are out of my book. So IO and Q, Nick Dub, good luck. I do think you get that all-time high break. So fantastic on that. I like that look as well too. But Sharif.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I have to say it.
What is
Come on. We're pushing on this 53 here. It kind of rejected here on IBIT. So I want to see some volume start to pick up as it is here on the lower time frames. You can see, guys, we're still holding a little bit. We did reject this 53 level a couple times on IBIT, which is totally fine. But just because we did that, I'm going to look to take a little bit off the top here, trim the position just to hold, just in case we reject. But as you can see, we have a consistent uptrend here, forming some higher lows throughout the session. So that's absolutely fantastic. Ooh, what, did I click the wrong one here? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Just trying to do some TA for you guys. And then here we go. As you can see, we have those higher lows continuing to move higher. So we're holding that trend steadily. I'm going to hold this position until we break this trend. Otherwise, I think we do go for that push on for all-time highs on Bitcoin. I don't know if it's going to be today, but maybe after market, but maybe by the end of the week as well too. So I think it's highly correlated with the market these days. So if the Qs are going to continue to push, then I think we'll get that push in Bitcoin as well too, my guy.
All right, Apple hit 229.88. So I am now officially out of 20% of my position. I haven't even taken out one share since August of 2023. I have been holding this with the full position, and I added at 200 on Black Monday, it was. So that is the first time I have ever taken profits on my Apple position. And I got to tell you, I'm doing this out of an abundance of caution, not because I think that the play is over. I'm worried about tariffs and what they may do to the bottom line and in the growing belligerencies, obviously, that are happening right now and its reliance on China and that whole area. So that's kind of why I took it out there. I still believe in the super cycle. I don't know if the super cycle is going to be as aggressive as some people predicted, but 20% has been removed now. And I got to tell you, I'm kind of happy about that, just locking in those profits.
Nice,
so,
man.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm pleased a little bit about it. So we'll see. And yeah, I don't know, Tony, what you're talking about, saying next year if you're talking about the super cycle, but I completely agree if that's what you're referring to, because I think we need that Christmas season to come in to really see that super cycle. We know Q4 is Apple's strongest quarter. Just look historically about their quarterly report. And so Q4 is going to be that one that really shows us whether there is a super cycle or not. But I have to caveat that statement as well. How come? Because we haven't had the full release of the AI, the AIP, or the, not AAP, that's it, Palantir, the Apple Intelligence.
Apple Intelligence,
yeah. So if we don't get that release, the software side of things, do we really get to see the full benefit of the super cycle? I'm just spitballing here, thinking out loud, and I don't think so. I think that you need to see that big boy, the big boy release, not this parcelized release of Apple Intelligence to really get people in. Because people need to start making videos on TikTok about stuff. People have to start getting jealous. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I need to upgrade to the 15 Pro Max or the 16 Pro Max. Like, there has to be that cultural adoption of it. If it's not, if it's like something, you know, obscure that you saw maybe on like some presentation that Apple gave, I don't think that moves the needle. What moves the needle is seeing your friends do it, them messaging you, is seeing them do it between each other, and you wanting to kind of partake in that. That's kind of how I see it, and I don't think that's happened yet. So that's my little rant there on Apple.
Ram started the super cycle with the iPhone 16.
Yeah, she did, bro. She did. You know, it was either the YSLs or the 16 Pro Max. It was a Pro Max, right, Ram? He wouldn't do that to you, right? He wouldn't get you nothing. Yeah, he would definitely get her the Pro Max. I mean, Ram. You wouldn't accept anything less than a Pro Max,
nothing less. No. Deserves nothing less.
Brendan Walsh, Joe, Sharif, what do you think with IBIT options? Love options, all I trade, but think it will cause some crazy short-term volatility, hoping the people shorting the top because to cause it to squeeze. Joseph, this is your alley.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier in the session, I was looking at some open interest on IBIT as well too. So it does look like there's some potential hedging positions sitting around 65K. That's where I've seen the most open interest, kind of in this expiration cycle, in the closest near-dated expiration cycle. I don't disagree with you at all. I do expect to see some more volatility because now you get that leverage product in it. But as of right now, it did open today. I think it may take a little while for people to adapt to it and see what's going on with those from an option standpoint. But again, I do think that it can work both ways, right? So you can see an increased volatility in Bitcoin just because you have now these leverage products working with it. But just be aware, you're not wrong. You do have those hedging positions as well too. A lot of open interest, as I mentioned before, sitting around $65K. I mean $65. But I mean, hey. Again, I'll take it. I'll take the volatility. And Wayne mentioned this before too, and it's a really good point because you see the volatility skew to the upside in Bitcoin when price starts to appreciate. So as it gets higher and higher in price, you see that volatility increase because the moves are so vast and so big that you'll see that that volatility increase. But just keep in mind, it's beneficial to both sides because now these larger firms who are now holding IBIT have the ability to hedge their downside and hedge the protection of Bitcoin as well too, just using that option, no pun intended.
Joseph, we got the flat top breakout, baby, on APL dang T. Where do we get in there? We got in at 78. I just went my beak at 24. So this was the look. We were talking about this one, putting in an ascending wedge with incrementally higher lows on every successive trough, with that $9. Oh, actually, it wasn't even $9. It was $8.95 to $9, and bang, we took that. So I'm really happy with this trade over here. Good look. I've got top wick for now, setting up the next peak weather at 33s. And let me tell you something else. I likely will add if this drops into 9 in defense. I don't have to have a resting order there in case it does flush. But if it dips into 9 and I see a plethora of buying coming in, I'm going to be adding in and around there. It's already zigged and zagged a little bit. Get it, Joseph. I don't know what happened, but get it.
I don't even know.
Right?
53.19, IBIT. Continue, my friend. Sorry.
No worries, bro. I love the excitement, man. So here it is. This one, if it dips down into that 9, it's already zigged and zagged in the sense that it came into 904, 906. But I'm going to be waiting for an actual 9 dip and bump. If it doesn't dip and bump, then I don't want anything to do with it. So we're going to hang out over here. We have a couple of more outs. We're waiting at 33s, printing 16s with the top wick right there being at 24. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But guys, so again, we are done the first poll. The first poll is complete, and you've already spoken. We had over 1,000 people voting. Now the second poll has hit. Which of these four tickers are going to make it onto the afternoon rundown? Here are your options.
Oh, wow.
Tesla, C3 AI, SMCI, or Nvidia. I think some people would argue this is a better list than the one we put out before. I know IBIT was on there, so don't come
it's all right. Hey, I'll try to tame myself a little bit.
I know your affinity for IBIT, and I respect it. But guys, get into the chat right now. Tesla, C3 AI, SMCI, or the monster Nvidia. Which of those two do you want to see on the afternoon rundown? It's super easy. We already have 144 people voting. Get into the chat right now. The poll's there. Vote for the ticker that you want to discuss. And we have the official Big Kahuna's back. Obi's a Big Kahuna too, but we've got the original Big Kahuna, a.k.a. Neil Roberts. He's back. The original team, the dream team, some would call it, the Katina Man and Neil Roberts. They're back. They will be looking at those tickers for you at that 2 o'clock hour. So get into the chat right now and vote. I'm voting. Which one are you going to vote for, Joseph?
I already voted, my
You already voted?
Yeah,
this
one, no, this is a secret one.
Secret, my bad.
It's a secret.
All right, I'm going to throw it in there.
It's secret.
I'm going to say Nvidia. The only reason I'm saying Nvidia is because we got earnings tomorrow and I like Jensen.
You know the boy voted for Nvidia.
I got my Jensen jacket up there.
You got the
too,
Jensen,
bro.
yeah, Jensen.
The leather
the
jacket.
chosen one.
Shout out to everybody, man. Vin Duong, we want MSTR. Look, the Katina Man is a kind man. Some people would even call him a giving man. I'm sure he will look at MSTR nicely for you during the afternoon rundown if you ask nicely. He doesn't have to make it onto the top 5, but the Katina Man, like I said, he's kind.
But is he a swimming man today?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day's a swimming day. Get it, Katina Man. Great look there. What are you looking at, Joseph?
Yeah, I'm just keeping my eyes here on IBIT here, guys. As you can see, we're still holding this trend nice and steadily. So no reason to get out just yet. We're just starting to take pieces off as we continue to move higher and higher. So again, we had the first trade here. These are the only 2 trades that I put on for the afternoon so far. So keep that in mind. I had one here, then we got stopped out. And then sure enough, we entered again at the hold of this trend. And then once we started to trade higher and higher, I had to get back in because I'm like, are we going to push for that all-time high today? And as of right now, it's kind of looking like it, but I do want to see the volume start to pick up just a little bit. IBIT only up about 2% on the session, but Bitcoin hovering around 93K and rising on the session. So keep that in mind, guys. I mentioned this, it's only a matter of time until this thing touches 100K. It may not be when we anticipate it to, but eventually it does. So just keep in mind. And guys, let us know. Let me know what you're in the chat, what you're looking at, what stocks you want me to look at this week on Thursday, because tomorrow it is Satea and Sharif. Oh, yeah. But on Thursday, we're going to be talking about some stratas, some strangles. And then today we talked a little bit about some open interest and expected moves as well too today with the Nvidia expected move. So just keep that in mind, guys. We do have some big earnings report coming up, and I think a lot of people are looking forward to that Nvidia report. It's definitely going to move the market regardless of which way it decides to move. So just keep in mind, don't hold anything that can be a sympathy play like AMD or anything along those lines going into the report, because it can be a little bit hectic on that. But we are starting to pull back a little bit here, Sharif, on IBIT. So I'm going to take a gander, guys. SoFi, somebody in the chat. Before I send it to you, I'll do the chat. A big one, and look at some SoFi technologies for them. And yeah, putting in a solid day there. So good luck. SoFi is running, as everybody is saying, and it looks like it's going to breach this previous high. Is that all-time highs on SoFi? Let's see. Again, why are we freezing up here, man? It's all right. We'll pull it up on something else. But let's take a look on SoFi. Are we all-time highs? And I'm going to send it off to Sharif.
Yeah, no worries, of course. So this one did come in into my area. I'm talking about APLD into 04s. I wasn't alive to it because I was looking at something else, nor did I have a resting order. So I want to see if it dips down a little bit more. It's showing its propensity to make lower lows and lower highs. So if that's the case, then I don't need to be quick to get in. And if, quite frankly, if it curls above 14s where it's having issues because it's a 4-candle holdup at that level, then fine. Then it's showing its strength, and that will allow me to get in either way, because then I can curl up into that third of a dollar where I've been hanging out. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that. But this is what I feel really bad about here. And it's always the trades that you execute poorly on that seem to occupy your mind rather than the ones that you execute well on. And this is the case in point. LUNR. I like this for VWAP. And it actually ended up holding VWAP quite well. It didn't hold it in a strict sense, in the sense that it did breach it through wicks. But most of the closing prints were above it. And so I didn't account for that in my stop placement. I should have been more alive to that. And now look at it breaking above in the exact kind of same way that we anticipated. 13 1/3 right now. LUNR, good luck. VWAP hold above 13. It's really, really going here. Okay, so we'll see if we can take out the high of the day, which is at 13 2/3, exactly at 66s, by the way. But this is the rocket of the day. AI, C3AI. It is a heavily shorted name, mid to low 20%. It's up 24% today. It's knocking the door of 33. It's a bit spready for a $30 name, especially one that's done over 17 million shares on the day. You think that the spread will be a bit tighter? Not so. It's at a whole dollar level right now, so I want to see how this trades. Does it break and take that whole dollar? And if it doesn't, does it dip into the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 for me to pick it up? Currently, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute on C3AI is around 32 1/3. That probably will not be there if it is to dip down, meaning that I'd likely pick it up at the $0.50. And now that I look at it, there is a chop and churn area at the $0.50. So if this dips into 32.50, I'm a buyer here. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. It took 36, man. This thing is going, bro. It's not coming back to 32.50. It's not gonna. It's breaking through 36, 36.07 now. It's up 24 1/5%. Great look for C3AI today. I tried to get in at 31, but it was just not the move. This was really going. I don't think my dip trade here is going to get filled, but we're going to leave it out anyway because it's a sound area. It's a sound area given this kind of bull flag consolidation pattern at the top over here at 32.50, kind of range between 32.20 and 32.50. So if it wants to reject 33 and come back down for a nice little retracement, I'm a buyer there at 32.50. Now back to this one, APLD. It's still dipping back down into the 9s, but I'm going to go ahead now and set up an order at, let's go 02s. There it is. So we're going to put that order at 02s here on APLD to defend this area. We're long 90, and we'll see if we can do a little bit better on this one because I've only got 2 more outs. I wouldn't mind adding here and getting a bit more shareage for the look there. So APLD in focus. What else do we have? I'm looking at the side charts over here. I'm sorry. That's why I'm looking to the side to see what is up. Not much that I like right now, Ram. So let's look at these large caps and see what the situation is. Not the large caps, sorry, the Mag 7. Yeah, everything a little bit in wait and see mode right now. I mean, Apple popped into $230.16, below 230 now, 229.78, looking to defend the 10 exponential, but still putting in higher lows and higher highs. So Apple, a nice move up. But like we've seen Apple, what it does is it runs up in the liquid part of the day, and then come that afternoon, it sells off. It did that yesterday. It's done that a bunch of times. Again, over here, look at this. Moved up, sells off. Moved up, sells off. Moved up, sells off. So, you know, if you're looking for a nice little trade there, you might want to actually short Apple into the later part of the day because that's what it's been doing lately. What'd you say, Ram?
It's charting.
So short it now.
Short it.
Oh, I got to wait till it sets up, Ram. It's got to break some key levels. Like, look what it did yesterday. So look at this area, Ram. We kind of kept defending this area, 228.75. Then it gave up the ghost there at around 310. That's where you get short. I think Obi would have been salivating on that mean reversion trade there. Shout out to Obi. He is the one, Kano. Yeah, so that would be, what kind of a similar area would that be here, Ram? Probably 229 and a third, maybe? 229.25, something in and around there. If it gives up the ghost there, I could be persuaded to get into that on Apple. But it's always mean reverting. Right? So as much as I love Apple, obviously the facts are facts. So we'll keep that in the look right there. Nvidia, very consolidative. Google, we already dealt with that, but it's below 177 again. So I got stopped out break even for the last little out there on Google after we took a nice 60 pennies in the money there. But yeah, it's back up into 177. It's been having a whole lot of trouble with 177. But this is another one of those ones where it's ascending wedge, Joseph. area crest, or sorry, area trough with a flat top. It's dying to break that 177 on a closing basis. Ascending wedge on goggles, right? Whether or not it ends up doing that, an entirely different story, but that's what it's looking like to me right now. We'll have to wait and see. We have an ad read in like 10 seconds. What do you got?
Yeah, Brandon Welsh in the chat just asked me about selling some puts on IBIT, sitting around 50. So I wanted to pull up the chain and just look at the deltas on that one. So you're sitting at about a 0.3 delta on that one. So again, that's not bad. If you're looking to get assigned on that, you're sitting in the right place. 50 is probably a little close in my opinion. It's not bad. You could probably get that delta a little bit, or you can get that strike a little bit lower and maybe get a better price. I could be wrong, but if you're looking to just collect some premium in the near term, then maybe just drop that a couple strikes. It's less premium, but again, if you are looking to get assigned, and it does happen, like we fail. One thing that I'm going to point out on IBIT right now is I don't like the flush that we had of the 53s, and that's relative to the 93K. Keep in mind the volume started to pick up a little bit to the downside. We are still holding this primary trend very steadily. But Nick, if you want to, or sorry, Brandon, if you want to continue to collect some premiums, I have no issue with you dropping that strike a little bit more, because if you do get assigned, therefore you are getting a better price on your assignment price, the strike that you selected. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about the open interest and volume and selecting strikes right after we get back from Sharif.
Man, oh my goodness. Ever wish you could trade without risking your own savings? With Trade the Pool, you can trade real shares using company capital, meaning you're not risking your own funds. And here's how it works. You choose the evaluation according to the account size that you'd like to manage, from $20K to $260,000 in buying power. Once you meet the profit target, you become a funded trader and you start trading with Trade the Pool's capital. And what's the best part? You keep up to 80% of the profits. It's a game changer, especially for traders looking to bypass that pattern day trader rule and access capital without all the unusual hurdles. So if you're interested, head on over right now to tradethepool.com and check it out. You'll see exactly why traders are loving it. I always have to do it that way. So Joseph, there was a break-in my condo.
No way.
Yeah, man. A third-floor unit was broken into this week, and the suite was accessed from the balcony. Police have an open investigation. I saw drones flying all around my place.
Oh, really? Wow.
The police were there looking for the thieves. Yeah, man.
Suspect. Oh.
I'm on the 6th floor, so I'm not really too worried about that, and I'm looking onto the street, whereas that unit is looking onto the back, so super easy, and we live in the valley, right? Yeah. So it's so easy to kind of disguise. But
yeah,
bro, man, the rampant crime in Toronto is just, it's
well,
too
I was
much,
telling you about my buddy the other day, or yesterday, about his car. Which is
unreal, dude.
Yeah, it is. But Sharif, we have a 20-sec super chat here. Yes, all right, Vulcan, CSIC, Nvidia report, make or break. Can we make a poll? Polls aren't up to us. They're up to the big ones over there.
Can we make poll? Well, no. The poll is for the voting. So you gotta wait till the big kahunas come on for a new poll. But right now we've got the poll. If you want, vote for Nvidia, my man. It's in the poll right now. Go ahead and have a look. We can talk about some of the Nvidia earnings, though. Joseph and I were talking about this a little earlier on about the implied volatility. Let me see if I've got that. Yeah, I do. So let's look at what Nvidia is expected to do on the day. Where is that bad boy? There it is. So let's bring it in over here. This is an interesting resource for anybody who wants. It's free. It's completely free. We're not sponsored by them. They're called Market Chameleon. You got to sign in to get the full data, but it's a free sign-in. You can sign in with your Google email or whatever. And here, let's have a look at what they're expected to do today. So it's actually tomorrow. So let's click tomorrow and then go after market close, and there's the monster Nvidia. So the monster Nvidia has a light options volume of about 1.2 million different contracts there, and I'm obviously joking when I say that. That's monstrous. The expected move though, Vulcan, look at this, a plus or minus 8.2% move. This is on the most expensive company, and not expensive, sorry, the most valuable market cap wise company in the world. It's expected to move 8.2% plus or minus. Last time it dropped 6.4%, but we all know what happened after that. It continued to rise. Let me give you a little bit of a tidbit there that Danielle Shea used to give us when she would come on to the show. Excellent options trader. Here's what she said. She's like, look, if the expected move is, say, let's just use 8% here, and the actual move ends up being bigger than 8%, whether plus or minus, the chances of a mean reversion become far, far less. But if you stay within that expected range, so if you print like a 7.5 dip or a pop, whatever, then you can definitely mean revert. But usually when you break away from that expected range, it's going to go. And so here's kind of what we're looking at, right? What was I was gonna say a point, but I totally forgot it. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're expecting there for Nvidia tomorrow. Obviously, the conference call, a very important one as well, or important time as well. That comes on at 5 p.m. I think we're expecting them at maybe 4:05. I'm not exactly sure when they report. I'll have to check market or earnings whispers, but 5 o'clock, that's going to be important because Jens is going to be dropping hot lines there as well. So let me know how that goes. It obviously sounds like you're invested in it. And again, thank you for the Swedish kroners, the super chat there. I do appreciate you. Now, APLD, I told you guys I would add at 9:02, and I did. And we did add at 9:02 over here, and I wet my beak at 9:08. Now I've got another profit taker set up at 9:12s, looking for this to defend that 9-ish area. Since it was such a long, prolonged area of resistance, it stands to reason, if you believe in technical analysis, that it actually acts as support once it comes back in and gets tested. So I'm looking for this one to move up again. Let's see what APLD does.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, man. The ads in the chat are absolutely crazy. So I'm gonna try to get through as many as them, as many as I can. CrowdStrike from nephew here. With a capital. All right. Anyways, okay, we'll take a look at this here. CrowdStrike, you're gonna get the nod from me on CrowdStrike. I really like this stock. As you know, we filled this gap and then we can continue to move higher in price. Short, just off of the all-time highs here. Let's see from a percentage metric what we are off here. But I mean, guys, I like CrowdStrike. I think CrowdStrike's a fantastic company. From a technical standpoint, it's what you really want to be in, which is frustrating. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, we're still about 13% off the highs, which is all right. I'll take a look into the expected move for you as well too. But going into earnings, yeah, I totally agree. I think this is the stock's a buy. I like CrowdStrike, so just keep that in mind. I play this gap fill here really nicely as well too. So yeah, you're gonna get the nod from me on CrowdStrike. And then we had something else. Can you guys explain what your Sharif and Joe? Yeah, absolutely. Can you guys explain what you're trading? How do you guys short Apple on the platform you are on? Are these single stock futures or options, or are you just buying the underlying stock to go long? Yeah, so when we go long or short, we're just buying flat out equities on that one, B-balling. Some things that you do need to pay fees for, you need to get locates for. Yeah. But other than that, it's just a click of the button to go long. You have your fixed risk. You can fix your share size as well too. But other than that, it's just flat out equities, right? We're just buying and going short stocks. So hopefully that answers your question. And then Elmong Mazor, how heavy do you lean on catalysts and options as opposed to stocks? Well, the thing is, options are just another vehicle, a leverage vehicle to trade other than the stock, right? So you would want to play an options from a catalyst standpoint the same way you would play the flat out security or equity in that. So just keep that in mind. It's just a leverage derivative that you can use to trade, okay? So it's just a different vehicle that offers leverage. It's the same thing. You're still going to respect the catalyst essentially in the same way. You're just using a different vehicle to take advantage of those moves, all right? So keep that in mind. And Meta, we had one more from Meta because look at this. You see this, Sharif? Like this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? So I'll
take a joke.
Yeah.
By the way, I looked out that CrowdStrike for you. Like
yeah, 9.8%. 9.8%. All right. So yeah, there you go. Perfect. There we go from Sharif. Thank you for that. And Meta, is it going to go to 600? As of right now, I don't think anytime soon. It's going to need to turn around a little bit. It was roaring after the Orion glasses came out. So again, it'll take a little bit of time to recover, but again, you get the nod from me on Meta because I think that stock is a long-term buy on that one. My guy, what do you got going on?
All right, so we're in AI. So I did exactly what I said I was going to do, 32.50 to defend that area. I'm long. I already wet my beak at 66s, so took a bit of a profit taker there. Now set up at 75s and in the mid 80s. Let's see if this area defends or whether we break down. So I've given it a bit of room. I'm trying to give it a little bit of room to the low end of the consolidation range. So the reason I got in was this 3250 range. So the reason I should get out should be the break of the range, because that's the reason I'm in, right? So 32.29 or around there, that's where I'm looking to get out of Dodge. Say that again? Who's clapping? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I messed that. All right. So I didn't see what was going on there, but sure. Shout out to Ram. She was clapping, and it was for Fabian, not for me. She wants you to know that. So I got in again on APLD. Again, I said, bang, we'll take that out. So the ad at 902 end up pays over here. Let's see how many more we've got left over here, Joseph. We don't want to look bad, and you love calling me out on my mistakes. So we got to be careful here, Joseph.
Hey, you gotta be careful.
So we're gonna.
I think we have a super chat for you there as well, too.
Sir.
I have no idea what currency that is, but hey.
Oh, we're gonna have a look right now. What do we got over here? Where's it at?
I think at the top of your thing. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Ooh, what is that?
Yeah,
I got no idea. We gotta copy
What is that?
So let's just have a look to see exactly what this is. What is this currency? Let's see if we can get that.
Prestige worldwide.
Shekel.
Baby.
It's a shekel. Nice. Okay, Israeli shekel. Appreciate you, Nurmud. So Nurmud says, thanks for the great guidance, guys. Do you think now there'll be more crypto? Nimrod.
Hey, bro.
Nimrod. I thought it was a Jewish name, man. I didn't know. Thanks for the great guidance, guys. Do you think now there'll be more crypto coin ETFs? Know why there's no correlation, even negative, between Solana and its ETF? No, that's beyond me, dude. I don't delve into that world. You'll have to wait for the crypto queen tomorrow. Not anything other than Bitcoin or Ethereum, I can't really comment on. Do you want to take that one?
No, I don't even know too much about that. I was gonna ask you, like, I don't even know the Ether one. Oh, Adam Duluth?
Over here.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at
myself.
ADL, yeah.
Yeah.
ADL's asking me what I had for breakfast. I don't eat breakfast, my guy, fast. No.
Yeah, eh?
Yep.
Nice.
2 o'clock.
You don't have 12 eggs?
No, not like you, man. Those smell so good every morning. The aroma is just everywhere. I know when you walk by, I don't even have to look. I could just smell the eggs.
I love it, man. It's kind of like my modus operandi over here. Guys, I'm a little worried here about AI right back into my area, so we're going to give this one a little bit of room, but there's a good chance we get stopped out here. Took a bit of a beak wetter, but that's not enough. We're going to be negative on this, obviously, if we get stopped out. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. AI, C3 AI is the one I'm talking about right now. Yeah, we'll have to see if this one continues to the downside. It looks like it will drop here, and I will get stopped out of this name. So a bit of a tougher look there if it doesn't curl back up. But that's fine. That's why we use stops. And now, what's my next move on it? That $32 level. If I get stopped out here, I'm looking possibly at 32. I won't have a resting order there. I can promise you that. It's going to have to actually hold up there, and then we'll get in because I don't want to take dip trades if it's going to breach my level. So AI, C3 AI, we're long 52s. It's printing 50, so we're not much out of the money right now, but I'm looking for this bad boy to curl up to see if we get that move back up here on C3 AI. Let's look at APLD is the other one we're involved in. Yeah, I just took that beak wetter at 12s, but now I've set it up at 20s. So let's see if this one wants to curl back up, possibly into the highs there on APLD. I haven't looked at too many Mag 7s. We were involved in that Google short for a nice winner earlier, but I really haven't been looking at them since that time. Let's bring them in here, see if there's anything afoot with the Mag 7 Ram. And I don't like anything right now, to be honest with you. Either at highs or in kind of no man's land or awfully consolidative. That's kind of what I feel about the Mag 7 right now. The Softy's at an interesting area, though. So Softy's at that 415.75. That's yesterday's closing print. that 415 and 3/4. So we're kind of consolidating right now between 415 and a quarter to 415.75. We've been doing that for the better part of half an hour or so. So no trade for me to execute on though on the Mag 7. I'm going to steer clear of these ones, Joseph, because they're not setting up in a way that I can trade them at the moment. So.
Nice. Yeah. I'm gonna miss Yellow Dot. I'm gonna look at Dell here for you in a second. But someone said iShares Ethereum ETF. Cal Mando, can you please type in that ticker, because I'm looking at the Fidelity one, FETH. So if you could just tag me in what the iShares Ethereum ETF is, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. But yeah, Dell. Let's take a look at Dell for Miss Yellow Dot. From a technical standpoint, because that's all I can give you. I mean, hey, I don't know where you're in on this stock. Again, you just kind of want to follow the primary trends here. As you can see, it was a little bit volatile here leading into the year, and then we had the big retracement. But as you can see, it is still holding this primary trend. You can look at this as possible secondary noise from a daily standpoint. But again, as long as you continue to move to the northeast, I think you're pretty good. Have your definitive outs. As you can see, you have higher lows here. So that's something to keep in mind. When you do look to enter the stock, if you're going to play it from a technical standpoint, every time you breach a higher low, the chances of it testing the next one gain significantly, all right? So just keep that in mind. Wherever you are, use these as kind of technical support zones. And if they are breached, just be prepared that, hey, I don't know if you're in the money or you're out the money on them, but every time this level is breached, keep in mind the next one may be tested and they can continue to break. But again, hold on to these and you could be sitting in a pretty penny. And with me, you know that like I always like to get a better price. If my thesis doesn't play out pretty quick and within intraday trading and swing trading, I know that when I'm wrong and from a technical standpoint, the chances of me being able to get a better price increase as we continue to depreciate in price. So that's my look on Dell. And yeah, sorry, Caldo, just let me know what that iShares ETF is. Guys, I'm back in IBIT again here. I'm just going to keep riding this wave until it tells me not to. As long as we continue to hold this intraday primary trend, then I'm going to continue to just kind of try and milk this thing higher and higher. We went and tested 53.20s on the session. Are we going to go back and test them again today? I'm not too sure. I wouldn't be surprised, but again, there's something that I want to see specifically in Bitcoin, and I want to see where we are at now. We're kind of consolidating for a bit. We have been for almost a week or so. I want to see that broken with heavy volume and heavy momentum, because that can give you a little more conviction within the trade, all right? So just keep that in mind. I do think we chop around, and you will know when this thing decides to break or not, all right? So Sharif, Google making new highs there on the day, my guy.
It's really going, dude, and that's why I was like, you know,
Are you in it? Let's go. Sending it. Wayner's in.
Get
Google.
it, Wayner's in Google.
Send it.
High date,
go.
Great. Well, we were talking about this one breaking through that 177 decisively now, Joseph. 177 and a third. HOD continues to either respect the 10 or the 20. Very good trending day today for goggles, 1.15%. Not a bad look at all. I like this look today on Google. So not bad at all. Meta also curling up there. Not a trade that I would have had, not off levels that I gauged or had any inclination to move into, but this one nice bottoming tail there into 552 and a quarter. Now we're talking about 555 and a half. So good look there for META. Only up though 0.5% on the day, but I want to talk about this one. So this is the one that I think we got a super chat for earlier, and it was kind of doing its thing at around that 4 3/4. Well, that was then. This is now 517 HOD, but we're having issues with $5, and you can just see that with the fact that we tanked nicely there off 517 all the way down to 464 once we broke 5, but we quickly regained that trend. And we started using, again, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 as support. Now you see umpteen amount of wicks that breach the 10, but look at every single closing print on ACRS is above that 10 exponential. Again, having issues with 5, I would submit to you something off the 10 exponential. Currently, it's at 486. You can get it off 490, with the idea being that we continue to put in those higher lows. Look at this, every single little wick there, for the most part, higher than its predecessor. So you can tell that the trend is up, but what I'm concerned about with is that $5 area. Now, where I would have my line in the sand is a break below that 460 area. That's the lowest end of the wick. So this wick right here that we got at 12.15, weaseled down at about 460. So if you were to get in here, we risk about 30 pennies possibly to squeeze on this name. What is the short float of this stock? Looks like I got stuffed out of C3AI. ACRS. Let's find out what the short float is. No, not much. About 4 1/3% on ACRS with about 55.25 million share float. So not the biggest short float, definitely. So can't really look at it from a parabolic perspective in the sense that it can have a short squeeze. But I'd like to work something off, possibly that 10 exponential, if I could. You know, knowing full well that it's probably going to have to dance and dance and dance before I get that high day break at 517. So let's go ahead and load up. Oh, no, you didn't.
No.
AI, you didn't.
What did it do?
It forced me out and then it's popping
then
back
popping
up.
back
So
in.
why not? Get
Take a
back
swing.
in.
Yeah, get back in.
Yeah, get back
Exactly.
in.
Yeah,
So that's
pop, pop, pop.
really frustrating right there,
Yeah,
man.
that's all right. Pop, pop.
Yeah, so let me just make sure that this candle closes to make a new high. I don't have to be first on this because we already have a high day that we can take there. So good look right now on C3AI as it weasels me out, and then, you know, true to form, pops back right back in. I don't want to get cut up on this by chasing it and trying to exact revenge, but I'm going to keep my eye on this one. As in the same way, I'm going to keep my eye on ACRS. We're going to take off LMND. Right now, ACRS, does it trade on the NASDAQ? Yes, it does. Below 5 right now. Let's set up something over here for that level that we talked about at the 10 exponential. We're going to set at 485, Joseph. Come with me. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, beautiful. So, Sharif, I found someone in the chat mentioned the Ethereum iShares ETF sitting around only 23 bucks here, which isn't too bad. Kind of piquing my interest, I think, here. So we'll see. Again, I mean, Ethereum moved pretty big after the election, so we'll keep in mind. Let's see how much of a move we made there. Anyways, it's not working. It's not doing what I wanted to do, but that's fine. But okay, thank you for that one. We'll keep this in mind. I'm gonna take a look into this one a little bit deeper. I do like iShares, so because I do have IBIT, so we'll keep that in mind. And I like the price of it. So guys, we're still here just playing the trend on IBIT. We're in at 53.02s. It's still kind of slowly just grinding, but let's take a look at the broader market here as we continue to just slowly grind. Now making new highs on the day, up about 3.7% on the session. This was an absolutely beautiful bottom signal here as you have the bottoming tail there. That was so beautiful. And when I seen that, I'm like, oh man, I'm unfortunate to have missed that. But here, guys, as you can see, we're still holding that trend. I think until we break this trend, I wouldn't be looking for a short quite yet. But if it breaks that, then maybe the shorts might come in a little bit. We are slightly extended on the session. I think at some point we do get a little bit of a pullback, but again, it can just be a slow grind higher today. And as of right now, it seems to be the case, with especially the Mag 7 backing the way. We have Google now making new highs of days as well, too, up about 1.27% on the session. And we haven't looked at Netflix since I mentioned it earlier in the day as well, too. So let's see if we continue to move higher on Netflix. And we do. It's making new highs of days as well, too. Trading around 866 bucks, up 2.3% on the session as well, too. And Amazon was another one of the big movers. So we'll take a look at them as well, too. Let's see what Amazon was doing, because yesterday Sharif and I were looking at Amazon while Tesla was ripping, and we're like, what is Amazon doing, right? So, but again, Amazon putting in another solid session here. Again, it can kind of back why the overall market is slowly grinding higher and higher, because these big mega caps are moving as well too. So we got Amazon up about 1.3% on the session, about $2.66. But what we do have as well too, guys, is IBIT continuing to trade higher and higher, holding this primary intraday trend, looking to potentially make some new highs of days, which will be absolutely fantastic. So it's only a matter of time until we do possibly go test that 95K on Bitcoin all-time highs. But one, guys, keep in mind here, we're going to want to see the volume start to step in on these lower time frames, guys. and it's not on the higher time frames. You can see the dwindling volume, so just always keep that in mind. And as you can see, as the volume picked up here, the pullback was a little deeper than anticipated. So just keep that in mind with the low volume as you're kind of just grinding higher, and then you have those higher volumes step in, the pullback can be a little deeper, all right? So just keep that in mind. A lot of people are saying Doge. Take a look at Doge. Yeah, let's take a look at Dogecoin there for you. Actually, no, I'm not going to pull up my trading view, but yeah, Doge I know that thing's up quite a bit as well too. So good luck there on Doge. But considering that we are moving higher and going to test higher day, I'm going to take a little bit off the top here, just trim a little bit here, just a measly 20% of the position there, Sharif, to see what's going on. But what are you cooking up there, my
I got to
guy?
let you guys know that we got the second poll. We already have 805 votes, but we're going to need more. We're going to need more. We had a good amount of votes for the first poll, but guys, this is the new way we are running the afternoon segment. The Big Kahunas, the original Big Kahuna is back. Locked and loaded, they will be at 2 o'clock, and they'll be looking at the tickers as decided by you, but the top 5 tickers make it on. So here's what we're doing. We're putting the first poll in the first half of the show, and we'll take the top 3 from there. Then we're going to throw up a second poll in the second half of the show, right at 12:30. After we're done with that first one, and we'll take the top 2 from these ones. So far, I'm unsurprised by which ones you guys want. So Nvidia takes the cake, obviously, 36% right now for the monster Nvidia. Second place, the Cybertruck, 29%, but not a distant third is SMCI, the monster, well, it used to be the monster SMCI, with 24%. C3 AI, distant fourth in that case right now. So get into the chat, guys. Have your say. Don't forget that Nvidia does report tomorrow. So if you want to see what the Big Kahunas are thinking, how this could all play out, make sure to vote. It looks like it's going to make it on, but have your say. Make sure in case, yeah, any possible changes happen there at the end. So Nvidia, everybody's going to be waiting for that. We're all going to be listening to the call, or I'm speaking for myself. I'm going to be listening to the call tomorrow with the OG Jensen. I want to hear a lot about. You know, what they're projecting for the upcoming year.
It looks for sure.
That's what I want to hear about, man. I also want to hear about Blackwell, Joseph. Now, it was a bit of a scary headline yesterday with
overheating.
With the overheating, that's obviously going to be a bit of an issue, especially if it kicks back the release date, right?
Yeah.
Because we're projecting all these earnings Q1, Q2 of 25, right? That's when Blackwell's supposed to start pumping out and making its way over to the hyperscalers.
Yeah, and I mentioned who's receiving the first shipment as well.
Remind me?
Yeah, Masayoshi's son.
That's right.
Of
SoftBank,
in Japan.
That's great, man. I mean, and he's looking to do some business with Jensen. He's obviously an OG. He knows what he's doing there, except when it comes to WeWork. But that's everybody can screw up.
That's what I forgot to do. I wanted to look more into that WeWork, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to write that in my notes. Yeah, because a lot of funky stuff. Because he's a CEO of something else now, I believe, as well too. So but don't quote me on it. But yeah, hey, that's it.
Yeah, so that everybody wants to hear about that. So what I'm concerned about is we kick back some of those earnings, right? We kick the can down the road, so to speak. So instead of Q1 and 2 of 25 realizing some of that Blackwell revenue, we kick the can down the road to 3 and 4, possibly, who knows? That's not good for the company, but it could present a buying opportunity for you. That's the thing. If we sell off on some, bearish headlines about Blackwell or anything like that, you could find yourself with a good entry price. And if you still believe that Nvidia is the king of, the AI space, which it is, according to the Katina man, then you have an opportunity to get in at a better price. And we still know the fact that Taiwan Semi just can't give enough production to AMD by default makes this, the number one. They've got 80% market share in the advanced AI chips. So, you can't really argue with facts. Those are facts. Whether or not they stay that way, that's kind of where reasonable people can disagree. So we're all eyes and ears about that. Now, in the current trades that I've got right now, APLD did work in nicely into 918. I'm still waiting at 920 after that ad at 902. I'm happy with this trade. Let's see if it continues to pamp. ACRS won't let me in. I've been waiting for a hot minute here. Looks like I'll have to move up my order or continue waiting because this one's shadowing now the 10 exponential. I think I'm just going to get in a light position here, Joseph. No, but it has to be at the right price. So we'll put it there, see if I can get a nice little wick into that area. So ACRS, looking to weasel in. There we go. We just got a very small position just to participate. I'm still leaving my real position at 85s. But what we'll do is we'll set up some outs over here to account for the volatility. And we'll set up some outs as well on the north side of 5. So that's what we're doing right now. Bang on C3 AI, taking profits there. Where are we long? We're 64s. We took it out at 82. Next up a little place, I'm waiting at 88s and then 95s. Let's see if we continue to pump. And bang, we'll take that out as well. Pump. So good look right now on AIs. It curls off that 10 exponential. Now we're showing 90s. I'm waiting at 95s. Can we get the third beak wetter here? This thing's up 24%. Let's put some respect on this one's name. But we know that 33 was a bit of an elusive target. We hung out there, I think, for all of 2 minutes and then right back down below 33. So let's not counter chickens before they hatch. Let's get that print, then we can talk. Right now, someone's selling up a storm at 90. Let's pack our patience and see what comes.
Yeah, I need the hot dog cannon over here because it's like I don't even know.
Hot dog cannon?
The hot dog cannon, man.
Can we get
That's
that?
all right, man. You got the hot dog cannon. You can hit me with the hot dog cannon.
Hey.
It's another chicken dinner winner, absolutely over here. So yeah, we're having fun on this one, guys. Pushing new highs of days on. Oh my God, exactly. I missed what's for lunch, so I didn't get to see. What's that? Oh wow, did this thing just tank? Oh wow, this thing just absolutely tanked. It pushed, the volume stepped in, and then it just took a massive move down here, gap down insanely about 15 cents in a matter of a couple of seconds there. So there's someone defending this level with some heavy size there. As you can see, the volume step in. And I managed to take a little bit off the top there. Right at the top, geez, and I don't know if it's going to recover, but if the volatility is looking to step in, and it looks like, I know the chat is going crazy, Bitcoin over 93K right now, but we need this volume to be sustained and someone to not be defending it, kind of like they were that 77 level right now, 77K that it defended not too long ago. But as of right now, it's looking like it's being heavily defended because we had the inability to hold, and it just rejected, it flushed so heavy, and now you can see on the lower time frames, that volume starting to step in. So just be wary. Someone is defending this level. So I don't know, maybe they might get squeezed out, but again, a heavy seller there up at 93K on Bitcoin, guys. So just keep that in mind. So I don't have any size. Oh, I do have a couple shares left. I think I'm just gonna get out here. My last bit, only 10%, because I do think it's gonna continue to sell here. And go lower, especially with that flush and how fierce it was, because it went from, let's see, 53.41 all the way down to 53s in a matter of seconds. So just keep that in mind. PLTR, anyone? We talked a little bit about PLTR. So let's take another look at Palantir. It's putting in a pretty solid day here. I'll pull it up on my charts. PLTR, thank you for working accordingly. Yeah, putting in a pretty solid session here, only up about 1.12%, but it's trending with the overall market. We mentioned that on the 26th, it's going to be switched over to the NASDAQ, so just keep that in mind. But again, I like PLTR. Sean likes PLTR. And Danny Ives from... Never heard it. He's never even heard of it, really, so he doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Alex Karp, who, really? I don't know, but... Guys, yeah, so we'll like that. We'll keep that on our radar, especially when it moves from the NYSE over to the NASDAQ. But guys, we have Google continuing to make some new highs of days, testing them at least anyways. So just keep in mind, only up about 1.2% on the session. But again, the Google is a really good look. I'm a big fan of Google. Sharif and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about the most watched YouTube video of all time, being Baby Shark. And just the ability to touch so many people, yeah, it's fantastic. So it's hard to beat these mega companies. And I asked Sharif, it's like, okay, so what is the success rate of companies being split, these large companies being split? And he's like, well, it happened to Microsoft in the 90s, I believe you said, or something like that. So since then, I've never heard of any of these big companies being split, and I think it's in America's best interest to not do so. So yeah,
great point, Joe, and I want to build on your point because let's call a spade a spade. America's caught in a competition right now with China, mostly. Right. And if you beat down your own companies, do you give your competitor
an edge?
Competitive edge?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
absolutely.
one. Two, we got an incoming administration with their own ideas. There does seem to be a bit of overlap, though, between the two. They seem to agree on a couple of things. Yeah. One, the breaking up of big tech and their dislike or disdain for China.
Yeah.
They seem to agree on those two issues. So
which one do you want, right? Do you want to break up your own companies or do you want to beat China? And knowing Americans, they're going to go with the latter.
I agree. I got to agree
right?
with that.
So, hey, just competitive culture. That's it, and I love it. Yep. So, yeah, I like the competitive culture. So.
Yeah, man, it's how you thrive. Yeah. That's how innovation comes. All right, we're doing real well here, man, on C3. Dang AI. We just took out some at 33.03s. I've set up the next beak wetter there for a high day test, 33.14. We're showing 02s right now on C3. Okay, now we're showing 08s. Could we squeeze a little bit here? We know this one already has a bit of a higher short float, mid to low 20s, but there was obviously somebody taking profits in and around 33s. So here's what I'm going to do. No, I'm actually not going to move down my beak wetter. I'd rather get stopped out rather than moving down my beak wetter here, because it's going to annoy me if this one really continues to go and I'm not participating in it. So let that one cook. Let's see if we break or take that $33 area right now on C3AI. Okay, we'll take on one more there. And now let me adjust my stop on C3AI to account for this latest move up. I've got to make sure that I've got the right one over here. Where is my C3? There it is. Oh, no, there is no stop. So now we can adjust it. So it'll be below. We'll put it at 55. So we're in at 60s. We're going to give this one to 55s. And no more than that. There we go. So we'll let that one cook. Let's leave that one. Let's see what it wants to do. What's the other one we've got over here? Okay, ACRS. Added at that 85s that I like. Now let's see if we can get the beak wet over here in the mid to, well, the high 90s. So we're waiting here at 98s, 97s showing up on the ask. It's going to have to cross. So we're zigging and zagging. Now, my idea with this one was kind of the same thing that I had with APLD, ascending wedge. It seems to have issues, obviously, with that $5 area, hence why I was trying to get in on the lower end of the range. And I think I've done that here with the bigger position. Whether or not we break and take 5, an entirely different story. I'd like to wet my beak, though, with some profitability on the way to a 5 break or rejection. Right now, we're zigging and zagging in the mid to high 90s. We'll have to pack our patience and see whether or not I get a couple of prints, but I've already layered my profit takers there below 5 and above 5 to account for any wicking that we could get on this one. ACRS, let's put some respect on this one's name, man. 57, 58%, having done almost 44 million shares of volume on the day. Let's see, again, we're showing 97s now. I'm still waiting at 98s. There seems to be some selling here, despite the fact that really no size posted on the book. So it looks like an iceberg or something else over here. We'll have to wait and see if we can get that cross. We're not getting it quite yet. The other trade that I've got on Ram, APLD. Where are we long here? We're long 02s on that ad. We weaseled up into 18s, but we couldn't break through that 20. So I didn't get any prints right there. It's printing 11s. I've already moved up my stop, so we're going to give this one about 4 pennies worth of room. 902. If it doesn't hold 9, I'm out at 898, and I won't even think about it. Okay, so ACRS, there it is. Bang! Print there. Nice. All right, printing 5s on ACRS. Let's see if we can cross 5. We have in the past. So that's why I put it on the north side of 5, because look at this. We wicked into 06s. So it stands to reason that we could, with a higher low, break that 5 this time. 01's now on the ask. 5 on the bid. Can we cross? No, we're still not crossing. ACRS, pack your patience, baby. This one does seem, though, like it may want to take out that top. When it takes it out, your guess is as good as mine. We can just try to do better by putting the odds on our side. So ACRS, nice move up. How many shares do I have on this? Okay, not bad, not bad. We can take out some more here. A bit of a bigger. There we go. No. Yeah, I'll leave that one cook there. What else we got? I haven't been looking at any of these Mag 7s. Let's weasel on over. Okay. The Mag 7s are moving, Joseph, especially if your name is Meta, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, or all of them, Neil says. No, I didn't say Apple, Amazon, Tesla, yeah. So these ones are all looking awfully good right now. Nvidia, there it is. Nvidia coming into that 144.75. It's at the high of the day right now, Joseph. We just put it in 144.64. Nvidia high day. Meta high of day. Microsoft, high a day. Google, high a day. So yeah, and Amazon's not that far off high a day either. 204.62, it's printing 31s. So not a bad look. What do you got there?
Bro, look at this.
Advanced Money Destroyer?
Yeah, advanced money destroyer. I don't.
Ram.
Yeah, pull it up. We'll look at this thing. Look at the overall market, and then look at AIM. All right. I don't know. I was building a thesis on this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna second guess it, but we'll see. We're gonna maybe talk about it sometime next week. But I am building a thesis on this thing. I do not want to own any outright equity in this stock, but there's other ways you can profit off of stocks that are kind of cooperating the way they are, doing absolutely nothing, just destroying your money, just slowly taking away those gains that you have. But there's other ways where you can recuperate that, and I think we're going to touch on that sometime next week, because I am looking to do some type of plays on AMD. It's no secret.
AMD.
It's no secret, but we'll touch on that later. I do have some trades planned for this thing.
I like
I'm gonna
it.
see if I want to execute them or not. Right? Is this thing is slightly frustrating? So again, I don't want to be in things that aren't
Mike,
working.
Mike,
There's so
Mike,
many
what's
things
going
that aren't
on?
working.
Mike.
My mic?
Yeah, are you on mute?
No.
Okay.
All right,
remember, everybody's saying Mike.
All right, Mike.
That means it was her.
Oh, Mike. Okay. All right, we're good. Jeez. Whew, hey. Take a breather there.
I know her.
All right, bang. All right, so we're okay now. We're back. AMD is starting to look like it's breaking out. Am I going to take a long on this thing? Absolutely not. Sharif.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We just took some profits there on ACRS. We're still having issues with $5, though. Now, our ACB, our adjusted cost base, is at 86s. We're still dancing with 5. So we're unable to wick through it. So this is a little interesting now. So we have higher lows. So that's bullish. So check. However, before we were wicking through 5, let's say into 506, now we're not unable to wick into that level. So looks like maybe the shorting or the profit taking becoming a little bit more aggressive, because now we're getting sequentially lower highs, right? Let's look at the area crest over here that we printed at 1208. That worked its way into 518. Then we have a bit of a double top here at 506. And now we're having issues with 5. So incrementally lower high, lower high, lower high, but we also have higher lows. Compression pattern. So what does textbook say in terms of resolving in the direction of the trend? Well, the trend is up. You only need to look at the percentage up on the day, 58%. So we'll have to see whether or not that manifests. I'm packing my patience on this one. AI back into 33, but again, having issues with 33. Where are we long on AI? We're long at 60s. So we're about 60 to 40 pennies in the money, but I'm looking at taking my next profit taker right in 15s. Reason I'm accounting for 15s is because the high of the day is around 17. So I'm just trying to take it out a little bit before that in case there is a seller of note that's preventing us from ascending any further. So I'm trying to account for that. The other trade that we've got on, where is it at over here? There we go. All right, APLD, I've been waiting for you. How many we got over here, Joseph, on APLD? We're going to take it out here because last time we did reject. So we're going to take out some at 18s, and we're going to take off the 20s. And we're going to move it up to 22s.
ATH on IBIT.
Say it again.
ATH on IBIT.
All-time highs?
On IBIT.
On IBIT?
Yeah. That's all we could do. Fist bump, props up, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Well, look, he's got a big position. And so he was telling me his position. I told him what I had, my entry position. Made me feel this big. So I got into some more last night. But yeah, hopefully this one keeps going, dude. Because, yeah, like talking to the NOS boss and the measured move, what he was saying there, we could see possibly on this is it's big. It's not small amounts there on what's it called, on Bitcoin. Yep. So we'll see exactly what happens there. ACRS having another field day here with 5. Let's see if this one puts in another higher low here, because this will be awfully bullish if we put another higher low, right? It's been sequentially higher lows. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to see the incrementally higher lows over here, but whether or not it continues to do that's really the question. So I'm keeping my eye here on ACRS as I am with all my trades. Let's see what comes from these bad boys. You want me to be a robot? What's going on over there, Ram? She's talking to the OG Darwin, it looks there in the chat. Let's see what else people are talking about there. How many votes do we have? Okay, over 1,000. I'm loving it. I'm appreciating the chat's participation today in the kind of the new format. What do we got right now? Nvidia, the monster, still leading the way at 36 with Tesla at 30. SMCI kind of stagnant here at 23, and AI just not getting any love right now at 11%. It's all good. I mean, AI is not really everybody's cup of tea. I can completely get that. I don't even know what they do. I still don't know what they do. I know they make AI software. I just have no idea. I've never heard anybody buying anything from them.
I know
they got the best ticker in the business.
The CEO is an older guy too. I remember, I remember seeing
Interesting.
him. Yeah, I've seen him on CNBC a couple times. So.
Seriously, yeah, no, I don't know too much about them at all, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, we'll keep tabs on that. Here comes ACRS, and the reason I'm fixated on this is because I don't want to be part of that lower low situation. If we get anything below 77s, I'm flattening out and I'm getting out of Dodge. It's got to be that higher low situation. That's the only reason I'm involved in this, right? It's an ascending wedge with resistance at 5. And if that's not the case anymore, then I just don't want it. And AI coming back down here, having issues with 33. So we'll pack our patience there. What's everybody else looking at?
Yeah, Bitcoin's roaring. We got the all-time highs on IBIT here, so shortly coming up. Bitcoin, it's looking like it may make all-time highs today as well too. But Crispy, he's talking about MSTR, and I remember I was going to pull that up for you. He's like he wants to sell some CSPs on this. You're going to get the nod on that from me. I mean CSPs. So it's looking like you may want to get assigned on them. But again, if you don't, then you can just collect some premiums. And if you do, then you own this stock that pretty much just tracks Bitcoin. And as you can see, it's just absolutely buzzing to the top side. Bitcoin's buzzing. The overall market, everybody's just it's roaring. All right, so it's a solid day in the market. We're not up crazy on anything. Again, we're only up about 0.2% on the SPY, and then the Q's just under 0.5%. But just look at MicroStrategy today, guys. It's putting in an absolute monster of a day, buzzing here, really moving to the top side, just breaching these all-time highs, and then just an absolute price discovery there, guys. So yeah, I mean, CSPs on that aren't horrible. I can back that thesis, especially if you just want to collect some premium, and then eventually you do get assigned. So I mean, that's a good look there. It's a little bit hefty. It's up there. So cash secure puts, as you said, Crispy, you're going to be holding a car there pretty much. So yeah, a Toyota Corolla at that, they mentioned. Yeah. So I mean, hey, good look there. It's tracking Bitcoin. Bitcoin look like it wants to go and breach all-time highs here, Sharif.
All right, I'm looking at SMCI. Great VWAP hold at SMCI. Not one that I had really had eyes on the day, but here's how it's looking right now. It even looks better on the 1, but this is the 5 right now on SMCI. And look how it was dealing with the volume-weighted average price throughout the day. So in the pre-market, it used VWAP as resistance. After we broke and took it, after the bell of around 90.45, we started using it as support. And it was not more true than over here. 1240 to 130. Beautiful hold up in and around, let's say it was a 25 penny range. Well, you would give it 25 pennies from VWAP. 27.75, the volume weighted average price. The lowest wick you got there was, I believe, into the $0.50. No, it went into 51s. So if you had anything at 49s or 48s, that's usually where I place my stops. You didn't get stopped out. And now it's curling. It took 28. It took out this area over here, so it broke out the top. 28 and a third is the high there on SMCI. Obviously, we know that 29.50 is the high of the day, so there's still work to do. We got to break through 29, right? There's multiple resistance levels. But it was a good VWAP hold here on SMCI. And I don't want to say a predictable trade, but one that helps you put the odds on your side. Especially if you were doing
AMD, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
AMD
yeah.
breaking up.
Yeah, let's have a look. Well, another microchip chain. Absolutely, there it is. So it's about to go green on the day, Joe. Yep. This is the break-even level here, 138.94. We already broke into 139.07. Let me have a quick look, see if there's anything new here. What is this? Altman. Altman's looking at stuff over here. Altman looking for investors for Nvidia competitor. What? Chief Executive Officer of, who's he talking to? Is looking for investors for semiconductor startup Refrain AI. The New York Post reports Altman is promoting an upcoming $150 million Series B funding round that would value the company at around $600 million. OpenAI is backed by billions of dollars from Microsoft and routinely purchases AI accelerators from Nvidia. It also purchases processors from AMD. And working with Broadcom as well. That's not AMD really specific, so not going to put much in that. Looking more, what is this? AMD rumored to enter the smartphone market. What's going on over here? Likely introducing what? What is APU like Ryzen AI? Reports this company over here, or this website, which I can't click for whatever reason here. That was way earlier, though. That came in at around 10:30. Not much, not much of a headline there, Joe.
Yeah, perfect. E-Signal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform you need. Infinite data, instant trading. Know where the market is moving before others with lightning fast data. Better backtesting and scanning. Predict the future by understanding the past. Reliable, real-time data, up-to-the-second market info from hundreds of global markets. Everything you need, all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description now, folks. E-Signal. Scan the QR code. Capitalize, analyze, strategize.
I want to do all of those. I don't know how you feel about that situation.
I want to do all those too, man.
Yes, man.
Let's go.
Shout out to E-Signal. We're still going to set up that platform. It's so robust. Like, Keenan has been using it for years, dude. Like, he was saying 20 some odd years, or not 20 some odd. Tina, man, how long have you been using E-Signal for?
Remind us one more time.
I said 20 and then I corrected myself. So 22 years. So he's been using it for a hot minute.
He didn't even play video games. It was just on.
He just went straight to E-Signal, bro. He forewent
to E-Signal.
all of
skip
the
phase. Yeah, skip the.
I love it.
Skip the gaming phase. Straight to E-Signal.
Straight up, dude. Coffee trader, I will absolutely oblige you, my friend. Sharif, take a look at PRFX. I like it testing back to 1. Absolutely, sir. You asked nicely, you get. Let's have a look over here. PRFX. What is this? Pain Reform Limited. Okay, what does this company do? It's a very small market cap. So first and foremost, let's throw on the ticker, PRFX. So let's throw that bad boy on there, and then let's throw on the closing print. So your point is very well taken there in the sense that it's coming back into that dollar. So this bad boy started off at 54 pennies, I believe, on the day. That was a closing print from yesterday. They are $2.75 million market cap with a float of 1.9 million shares. Let's find out what the short float is. PRFX. Short float, 6.15%. Not a bad look, not a bad look, not the biggest. Here's the look. This is one I would stay away from personally. Coffee trader. The only reason, it's a beautiful move up at 4 a.m., but look at the pre-market high. Look at that. So the pre-market high that we printed at 635, that's $1.92. The high the day after the bell is $1.82. So by rule, by definition, I would not be involved in this. If there is a definable pre-market high, like an area crest, on a small cap gapper that was trading in the pre-market, I will not trade it as a breakout trade unless it takes that pre-market high after the bell. So it's got to be after 9:30. And how well did we do after the bell? The best we could do is that $1.82. So we're nowhere near, well, we're 10 pennies off that high of the day that we put in the pre. So by definition, I stay away from this. And you can also kind of see that we're not really trending, right? We're very much zig and zag, right? With, extreme areas of crest and trough, but with no discernible trends. So I would stay away from this. Personally, it doesn't jive under my system. Pain Reform Limited looks like they're an Israeli company, I believe here. Do they have a catalyst? Let me just have a look here quickly. All these, there it is. Okay, so here's the headline in case anyone's wondering. Pain Reform shares are trading higher. The company announced a 1-4-4 reverse stock split, so just to stay in compliance likely with the exchange. So nothing doing for me there. But yeah, let me know how it goes. If it ends up breaking out, I'd love to know about it because I'll trade it if it takes that 192 area. But it's got to take 192 first, and it hasn't done that. So what are you looking at, Joseph?
We have a super chat, $150, whatever that one currency was.
Oh,
before.
The shekels.
Yeah, the shekels. Nimrod. Struggling to sell profitable stocks in trend account. Hoping they'll keep rising, but often regret it. Got a tough rule for when to sell, even if you're still optimistic on the stock. Which stock is the oldest in your portfolio? No ETFs indexes. Would you like to answer that one, Sharif?
I didn't even. Okay, I will look at it.
Oh, sorry.
No,
So what's the oldest holding you have? in your portfolio? Apple?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I have held stocks for a long time. He was kind of I think he was a money manager. He used to come on back in 2020. His name was Mark Roberts. We used to call him the stock father.
The stock father.
Yeah, great guy. So I was a viewer at the time, and he dropped a couple of suggestions for stocks to buy to kind of benefit from inflation. Costco, Walmart, and Albertsons.
Ooh.
I made money, big boy money, on Walmart. Sorry, on Costco and Albertsons. Broke even on Walmart. Funny, because now it's trending to no end, right?
It's the best stock in the market.
So I held those for a hot minute. I held them through the entire, almost the pandemic. So, but Apple just beat them out by a smidge. So I have held in the past, man. But you know, I'm not the best at holding.
Nice. For me, it was Canopy Growth Corp Nimrod. It was years ago. It was the first stock I ever bought. So origin story, my friend just said, hey, Joe, you should invest your money. We have an emerging market, and that was the Canadian cannabis companies. So sure enough, all I did was back in 2016 was I Googled the top Canadian cannabis companies, and Canopy Growth Corp was #1. So sure enough, me being me, swung the bat as heavy as I possibly could at CGC and held that for a couple years and had a really good time. Yeah, that's how I bought my condo and my car. Yeah.
Seriously? Okay.
Me and my boy bought one. Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So you go heavy, eh?
Heavy, man.
You go heavy. You don't mess around.
No. I'm not.
Yeah.
Here
See,
to play,
I worked my way into positions. Yeah. That kind of. I kind of was.
If I'm a firm believer in it, I think, and it was kind of like I had a good Moderna play as well too in the pandemic, and all I did was just who's going to lead the vaccination race. And when you have kind of these emerging markets coming up, I just have like really high conviction within them for some reason. Yeah. So Bitcoin being the latest one, and I've been dabbling in that for a couple of years as well too. But it's so rare to have something like kind of like how the AI race is, and you can see what happened with Nvidia, right? Missed out on that one. But again, I was in the weed industry when it was coming to Canada, and then I was able to take advantage of the pandemic as well too. Right, and then now we have new currencies coming.
I remember when Kamala Harris was running for VP and she was debating Mike Pence, and then they were talking about weed legalization. Literally the next day, man, weed went nuts.
Crazy,
I remember Tilray, that hot flaming pile of garbage. Tilray was at $70-something during 21. Where is this thing at now?
Yeah, we don't even know where it's at.
Let's have a quick look.
I remember I bought Canopy Growth Corp.
$1.31.
Yeah, wow.
From $70-something.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough. And I hope you're not bag holding that, guys.
I'm sorry.
I had Canopy Growth Corp at like $4 or $5 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
CGC.
Yeah.
That's a
like
monster,
$4 or $5. Yeah. But that was like way back in the day, and then it ripped up to like 60 or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, the pandemic. They
I didn't even know, dude. I'm being totally frank. I knew nothing about like the stock market at the time. My friend just said, "Hey," he went to Laurier. He's like, "Hey Joe, you should invest your money. My cousin bought this." I'm like, "Hey, sure, why not?" And I knew nothing about it back in the day. And then I also had Facebook back in the day, which was one of my largest holdings. I had that at like $100 and something bucks.
Yeah, that was.
And then Mark went through a bunch of troubles in the earlier teens of 2000, and then I sold that. But sure enough, that was one that he missed.
I had a monster trade on that as well.
Yeah.
That was I picked it up January 2023. It bottomed October 2022, went to $88. I picked it up at $133.
Nice.
I sold it at $233.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the better trades I've had, but obviously it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, a lot better. Yeah, exactly. So Nimrod, just again, make sure you're in good companies. If it's a really good company, then the ability to hold on to these should give you a little bit more conviction. I know we got a little sidetracked getting into what we had the longest ones of, but hopefully that answered your questions. Just keep at it. Make sure you're buying good companies. You know, we talked about Walmart. Sharif had Costco, Walmart, and all these strong companies. Some of these tech companies like Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Google. Just stick to things that are strong, and hopefully that'll give you the ability to hold on to these positions a little bit longer instead of just outright speculation, looking for that next 100 bagger or whatever the boys like to call it or something like that, right?
Yeah, 10 bagger.
Yeah, 10 bagger. Yeah.
Bitcoin trader asking a great question, Joseph. Never understood why it dropped so much. I think you're talking about Meta, and my understanding was he was spending way too much on Reality Labs, and I don't know if you guys know.
That was before, like that was recent, like when he was looking into,
Before that.
Before that, remember when it tanked? Yeah.
My bad,
No, it's all good. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say basically why it sold off so aggressively in 22. He was spending way too much money on Reality Labs, which wasn't making any money. In case you guys are wondering, that's like the metaverse augmented reality thing that we're all getting hyped up about now. He saw the light way earlier. He's a visionary. We know he's a creator. The other thing was they were hiring to no end. Joseph, all I kept seeing on my Instagram feed and my TikTok feed back in the pandemic, like the later stages of the pandemic, was a day in the life of a person working at Meta.
Yeah.
They did nothing, and they got paid through the roof. And what ended up happening, I hate to celebrate people losing their jobs. That's not what I'm saying. But there was a huge purge at Meta. They laid off a lot of people.
He went into the year of efficiency.
Exactly.
Right? The year of efficiency, he was calling it. And then who followed? All these other tech companies followed. But again, I guess that was just like a pandemic too, because they were just hiring everybody. Everybody was at home.
Exactly.
They didn't know how long that the pandemic was going to go on for. People were just anticipating that we were going to be cooped up in the house for eternity. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
And it wasn't the case, right? And everybody was hiring hand over fist, and you know your balance sheet inflated huge. Anyway, so he purged. We know there was mass layoffs. He cut spending a little bit on Reality Labs, not to the way that obviously the street wanted. But you saw what he can do it, man. He can do it. The dude. Look, again, I had this conversation with Satea. I'll put it to you. Are you pro manager or pro founder / creator? Let me give you two different versions. Are you Timmy C, who didn't obviously come up with the ideas behind Apple's successful products? That was all Steve Jobs, mostly. Or are you that kind of Meta, Zuckerberg? He's the creator, the founder, the visionary. He creates. He doesn't seem to manage as well. But that kind of puts that whole thing in question because he can manage. We saw him manage in 22-23.
Absolutely. And sure enough, he did. And you guys seen the stock was absolutely depleted. They thought this was, they were writing Meta's obituary essentially, right? But then sure enough, he's like, boom, cutting off one of their company's largest expenses being employees, right? So sure enough, he's like, he just let everybody go. Sure enough, everything improved from then. He stopped spending all this money on the metaverse and et cetera, but then he also cut a lot of jobs as well too. So yeah.
Well said, man.
Yeah, man.
AJ Fiorenza, okay. Fiorenza. Joe, Sharif, can you all share your personal investments and long-term holds? I'll just tell you what mine are. Joe can speak for himself. I'm in Apple. I'm in PanW. I'm in Caterpillar. I have, obviously, a little bit of IBIT now. I'm holding a little bit of MindMed, okay? I got in a little bit of MindMed. I know, I'm crazy, but RFK is now going to be HHS, or the Secretary of HHS, so who knows what may come of that. And am I holding anything else? But yes, Polestar. I've got a bit of a bet there on Polestar. I've got it sub $1. So this is one of those ones where I'll take a 0. The only reason I'm in Polestar is because I see them all over the streets here. They're everywhere, okay? Second to Tesla in terms of electric vehicles, more than the Mustang Mach-E. I'll put it like that. So I was of the opinion, you know, if it takes off in Canada, maybe it takes off in the States. In addition to that, they're building a plant in South Carolina, which allows them to circumvent the tariffs that are incoming on Chinese EVs. They are owned by a Chinese company. Let's call a spade a spade. They're owned by a company called Geely. Geely owns Volvo. So technically, it's all owned by Geely because it's a 50-50 venture between Geely and Volvo. But Geely owns all of Volvo. So if you really look at it and cut through all the BS, it's owned by Chinese, but they're gonna open up a plant in the States. Those are my long-term holdings.
Yeah, my long-term holdings right now will be sitting on some IBIT, Google, Apple, and Tesla. Those are my 4. I try not to go too many holdings. Those are my 4. And I don't know how long I'm going to hold on to them for, but I do plan on holding them for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and I forgot one thing. I got into a couple of shares of ASML. I'm buying
Oh, yeah,
2
yeah,
3
yeah,
shares at a
yeah,
time.
ASML
Like,
averaging
it's going to be
into that
very small, and it's going to be on dips. ASML guys, look, man, they're a monopoly. Ultraviolet lithography. We can't live without them. You can't make any advanced chips without the ultraviolet lithography machine. So if you think that they don't get disrupted, then ASML is the only play on the block. But if you do think that they do get disrupted, possibly by, I think it was like Fuji or Nikon or something, like some Japanese company, or the Chinese, obviously probably working on that because their machines are banned in China, so they're probably trying to circumvent that some way, somehow. If you don't think they get disrupted, then they are the only play in town. If you do, then maybe it's a short. But I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going long on that.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to say thank you to Nimrod for having a good sense of humor there. We appreciate it. I'm glad that our advice can help you out a little bit there, because again, it was a serious question, so hopefully we answered it for you.
Have you looked at Nvidia? The buy program is on right now.
Is it still on? Yeah, I mean,
It's
the buy
insane.
program, look at AMD as well too, man. The buy program is absolutely just, it's kicked in.
Oh, yeah.
We got the breakout. If we can pull up my chart quick, I'm all out of AMD here now, guys. So this was the trade on AMD. It was a banger. We caught the breakout right at the right time. Look at the volume step in, guys. I'm always going to keep point this out. And for breakout traders, this is something that you need to see, especially starting from the lower time frames, then going higher. As you can see, we have a big isolated volume signature compared to the relative to what was printing for the past couple of hours. So just keep that in mind. Sure enough, we're in at the right time, and then we get this extended move on that one. So that was a really good look there on AMD, and then I'll show you my IBIT, because those are the only two tickers that I traded on the session, guys. So here we had IBIT 1 right here, stopped out. We did take a small loss on this one because we only took about 10% off, but then sure enough, we entered again, took some off there, and then I'm like, I think we're gonna hold this primary trend. So again, we got that second move in here, sorry, let me zoom out. We were in here, out, stopped out, break even, swung the bat again, and then we got this big move up here, and then I by accidentally entered there again. By accident, I meant to get into AMD. But those are the 4 or 5 trades that I had on the session today, guys. Really, really nice ones there, especially the breakout on AMD. My guy, what are you cooking up?
I'm looking at SYRS. Shout out to Scott Edwards for letting me know about this bad boy. Now, you know I wouldn't have seen this on my scanner, Scott, because I filter everything sub 85 pennies. But like you said, this one's breaking out. So if you're into that kind of thing, I don't usually like trading these sub $1 stocks, but I don't have a hard and fast rule about the SYRS as a ticker. And here are the details for this name. It's about a $9 million market cap with a float of about 26.33 million shares. Let's find out what the short float is. SYRS, about 6.33%. So not a bad look there. And I should tell you that good overlap here between the float as displayed by Trade Ideas and the one that I have on my platform. Topping tail though, Scott, right into, surprise, surprise, that 37 penny area, because that was the high of the day. But look, Scott, we didn't really give up the ghost. In fact, we're still above VWAP. The 10, the 20, the 200, we're above everything in terms of bullishness here if you're trying to gauge it using some of these indicators. So, interesting. My first inclination is to want to wait for a dip into VWAP. But then I say to myself, if that's the case, then, is this reversing at that point? So I'm not going to get in because there's 6 minutes left on the show, but I would like to probably get in, between 31 to 33 if I can. Obviously, with the ultimate idea being take 37 and a third out, which is the high of the day. I wouldn't give this much below 31. It's going to have to hold VWAP for me. And I've seen how it traded before. It's lacking a little bit of respect for VWAP. Let's call a spade a spade. Look at it. It makes that big boy high a day. It tanks, doesn't hold up at VWAP, doesn't hold up at any area, in fact, that I would have charted. Let's see if this area at 25 was a level of importance yesterday. Yeah, it looks like as if that's where we were kind of trading in the aftermarket, or basically the entire day yesterday, the low end of the consolidation, right around 25. So maybe I would have charted that. Yeah, I'm going to steer clear of this one. It's a good one. It's a nice little rounded bottom break, but I don't know. I think the best move is probably behind it, unless it breaks the high of the day. SYRS is what we're talking about here, guys, but I'm going to steer clear of that. AI. So we're still involved with this one. We're long at 60. This one worked into 10s. I'm still waiting here at 15s. I've been waiting at 15s, so it hasn't given it to me yet. You know, if it doesn't give it to me by the time the show's over, obviously I'm going to flatten out. I'm not going to babysit a C3 AI while I'm at the green screen. Here we go again, moving up into 10s. And here we go, 12 showing up now. Can I get the fill, please? At 15s, it's up 24.75%. Showing 12s now. Come on, bro. Actually, the spread is tightening up here. 1 penny on C3 AI. That's a little unusual. 14s now, Joseph. Can we get the cross? I've been waiting. And bang! We'll take that. Nice
Straight
little.
right
We're still holding. We're still holding,
go.
baby. So we still got a bit more over here on C3 AI. Good break and take of the high day there by the company that no one seems to know what they do. Shout out to them. Good look. What are we doing over here in ACRS? Bubkiss. An APLD. We're not getting that print either, but we're nicely in the money on APLD.
What is that from?
APLD?
No, Dick Bubkiss.
Oh, Bubkiss.
Bubkiss.
No,
yeah,
no, Dick Bubkiss is the football guy from the...
Yeah. What is that? What movie is that from?
Is he Ohio State or something?
But it's from a movie too, making fun of him. Yeah.
I don't even know. Well, it's a great last name.
Yeah.
Like, kids. Come on. I'm sure he's a great guy, but that name is great.
Yeah.
Right?
If anybody can remember what movie that is from.
Yeah, please, let us know.
Also, Sharif, we got a super chat for you.
Sir.
Easy Media, $1.99, $2. SPPL, please.
Absolutely. You don't have to say that more than once. I will oblige. Here, let's bring it in. It's a ticker that I'm familiar with. SPPL. The company is Simple Limited. Okay. It's simply not doing anything today. That's kind of the look there. Look, it had a good day back on Friday, the 15th. It had a big break there in the pre-market. What was it up there from the close, from the open to? It was over 100% mover there from top to bottom on Friday. Not much in the way of action yesterday, but we did get higher lows. So if you're looking at yesterday's price action, it was a higher low type situation with a bit of an upward channel. Today, similar but not the same in the sense that you're getting higher lows now with a bit of a flat top at 150, but you're taking it for the first time since 10 this morning. So you're above that $1.50 for the first time since 10 this morning. Look, if you're holding this for a swing play, it's not bad in the sense that it didn't give back a lot of Friday's gains yesterday. In fact, it made an upward channel. Another kind of higher high, if you want to look at that, like yesterday or today's high is higher than Monday's, $1.56. I'm not trading this intraday. The volume isn't there. But if you're swinging it, let's have a look at the daily on this, see what the situation is. Oh, wow. Oh, we were looking at this one earlier. Yeah, okay. I remember this one. Yeah, this is a good breakout area over here. There's no question about that. That breakout on the 4th really had people looking. So if you're swinging on this, maybe something at $1, and then you're buying it. Nice little double bottom too, by the way, in that 72 penny to kind of 82 penny area. It's hard to analyze this one, and especially it keeps rejecting the 200 too on the daily. Like look at these wicks into the 200, all of them closing below that 200 exponential moving average for SPPL. Let me know how it goes. Don't have much to say on it other than that. Hope that helps. Easy Media, Joseph.
Yeah, for sure, guys. So yeah, we're not going to put any more positions on right now, but as you can see on my chart here, we did have this really nice breakout on AMD. Timing is everything in this market, and sure enough, we hit the right time on this one. So give myself a bang, and this maybe a props up too on that one. So yeah, I like this. I like this trade here. True, we were just consolidating. Well, the whole market and Nvidia was ripping. AMD was just kind of consolidating, just collecting, stopping people out, collecting shares, and then sure enough, the volume and the move was backed by this consolidation phase. So the longer it consolidates, the bigger the move and the more fierce it can potentially be, and that was the case here in AMD. So we're happy about that one. This one was a really good breakout trade, almost picture perfect. I mean, the volume didn't step in crazy on the higher time frames, but you can see from a lower time frame standpoint that it absolutely did. So I like this one here. Keep that in mind from a volume standpoint, guys. You see that volume relative to what it was trading for the past couple hours. Step in right there. So we like that one. That was AMD. And then I'll show off the IBIT one more time just before we send it off to Sharif for final thoughts on the day, guys. And that's the IBIT.
All right, guys, it is now officially, oh, we took it out on AI. So we got the high day break there. We were sitting at 33s, Ram. We just took that bad boy out. We're all done. We're their C3 AI trade. It's breaking into the highs. I'm sure the big kahunas will have more to say. But for now, Satya and I will see you tomorrow. Joseph will be back with that straddle and strangle lesson on Thursday. So make sure to join us. Same bat time, same bat channel. Get them, big kahunas.
Let's go, my guy.
Yes, sir.
You cannot stop this market. You can only hope to contain it.